Welcome to Liberty Audiobook. What if I told you that in just 21 days, you could completely transform who you are? Not just change a few habits or tweak your routine, but actually become a fundamentally different person. Someone more confident or successful, more disciplined, and more aligned with the life you have always wanted to live. Most people will tell you that real change takes years, maybe decades. They will say you need to be patient, that transformation is a slow process, that you should manage your expectations. They are wrong. They are stuck in the same limiting beliefs that have kept 99% of the population trapped in mediocrity their entire lives. The truth is, every single day, people around the world are experiencing radical transformations. People who were broke become millionaires. People who were shy become confident leaders. People who felt lost find their purpose and completely reinvent their lives. And many of them do it in a matter of weeks, not years. The difference is not luck, talent, or circumstances. The difference is understanding how transformation actually works at the deepest level of human psychology and neuroscience. The moment you decide to step away from the old version of yourself, everything begins to shift. Most people wait for the perfect time to reinvent their lives, but perfection never comes. The secret is to start now, with focus, intention, and a clear blueprint to follow. In this audiobook, we will break down the exact steps you need to follow for the next 21 days to completely transform your life. Not in theory, not in abstract ideas, but in clear, practical actions that will help you rebuild your mindset, your habits, and your confidence from the ground up. Each chapter will give you a piece of the puzzle, from burning away the excuses that hold you back, to designing a future so compelling it pulls you forward, to building the discipline and systems that make success inevitable. This is not about temporary motivation. This is about lasting change, the kind that makes you look back just 3 weeks from now and hardly recognize the person you used to be. All you need is commitment, consistency, and the willingness to push yourself further than before. Because in 21 days you can set in motion the habits, mindset, and clarity that can change everything about your future. When you understand the real mechanics of change, 21 days is not just possible, it is inevitable. This is not another motivational speech filled with empty promises. This is a scientific, systematic approach to human transformation that will give you the exact tools, strategies, and mindset shifts you need to become the person you have always known you could be. By the end of these 21 days, the old you will not just be improved, it will be completely obsolete. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The 21-Day Catalyst, Burning the Old You to the Ground. Let me start by destroying the biggest lie you have been told about personal transformation, and then you will take a radical step towards your future. You have probably heard that it takes 21 days to form a habit, and you have probably tried to use this principle to change your life. Maybe you tried to work out for 21 days straight, or meditate, or wake up early, and when it did not stick, when day 22 came, and you fell back into your old patterns, you blamed yourself. You thought you lacked willpower, discipline, or commitment. But here is what nobody told you. The 21-day rule was never about surface-level habits. It was discovered by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon who noticed that his patients took approximately 21 days to adjust to their new appearance after surgery. This was not about brushing their teeth or going to the gym. This was about their fundamental self-image, a core identity shifting to accept a new reality. The real power of 21 days is not in forming habits. It is in rewiring your identity. And when you understand this distinction, everything changes. Because habits come and go, but identity transformation is permanent. When you change who you are at the core level, the behaviors, the choices, the lifestyle all follow automatically. Think about it this way. If you truly saw yourself as a healthy person, would you really struggle to eat well? If you genuinely believed you were successful, would you really struggle to take the actions that create success? If you knew in your bones that you were confident and capable, would you really hesitate to speak up, take risks, or pursue your dreams? The answer is no. The only reason you struggle with these things is because, deep down, your current identity is fighting against these changes. Your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your daily thoughts and actions, is working overtime to keep you consistent with who you currently believe you are. But here is where it gets interesting. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only responds to what you consistently feed it. If you have been feeding it the same story about yourself for years, that is what it accepts as truth. But if you deliberately and systematically feed it a new story, a new identity, a new version of yourself, it will accept that as truth just as readily. This is why 21 days is actually the perfect time frame. It is long enough to override old neural pathways and establish new ones, but short enough that your conscious mind can maintain focus and commitment without getting overwhelmed. It is the sweet spot where neuroplasticity meets psychological momentum. The key is understanding that you are not trying to change what you do for 21 days. You are changing who you are for 21 days. You are not practicing new habits. You are practicing a new identity. You are not trying to act differently. You are trying to be different. And when being different becomes your new normal, acting differently becomes effortless. Most people fail at transformation because they focus on the externals while ignoring the internals. They try to change their behavior while keeping the same mindset. They try to change their actions while maintaining the same beliefs about themselves. It is like trying to change the fruit while keeping the same roots. It does not work. But when you flip the script, when you start with identity and let behavior follow, transformation becomes inevitable. When you spend 21 days not just doing different things, but actually becoming a different person, you create a shift so fundamental that going back to your old self becomes literally impossible. This is what separates the 1% who create lasting transformation from the 99% who try and fail over and over again. The 1% understand that change happens from the inside out, not the outside in. They know that lasting transformation is about becoming, not just doing. Before you can build the life you have always wanted, you must first let go of the person you have been. Think about it. You cannot step into a new identity while clinging to the old one. If you want to transform your life in the next 21 days, you have to make a bold, almost radical decision. The old version of you, the one full of excuses, bad habits, and self-doubt, must be destroyed, not repaired, not slightly improved, completely burned to the ground. This might sound dramatic, but it is the truth. Real change does not happen when you try to fix small pieces of your life while leaving the rest untouched. Imagine trying to build a brand new house on a shaky, crumbling foundation. No matter how beautiful the design, it will eventually collapse. The same is true for your life. If you carry the same toxic habits, the same negative thought patterns, and the same limiting beliefs into this next chapter, nothing will truly change. So today, you must declare an ending. Take a moment and look at the person you have been, the choices you have made, the fears you have obeyed, the opportunities you have wasted. Be brutally honest with yourself. Who do you no longer want to be? What behaviors have been holding you back? This step is not about shame or guilt. It is about clarity. You cannot fight what you refuse to face. For years, you have been reinforcing the identity of the old you. Every time you gave in to procrastination, every time you said yes and you should have said no, every time you avoided discomfort, you were building that version stronger. But starting now, you are taking your power back. From this day forward, you stop feeding that old identity. You stop giving it energy. You stop letting it dictate your future. A powerful way to do this is through symbolic action. Write down everything about the old you that you are leaving behind. The habits, the fears, the excuses. Be specific. Then destroy that piece of paper. Burn it. Rip it up. Throw it away. This is not just a ritual. It is a declaration. You are telling yourself and the world, that person is gone. I am no longer that version of me. The next 21 days will demand courage. The old you will try to fight back. It will whisper lies. It is too hard. You cannot change. You failed before. When that voice appears, remember this moment. Remember that you burned the bridge behind you. There is no going back. When you destroy the old you create space for the new you to emerge, a stronger, more disciplined, more powerful version of yourself. And this new identity is not built on wishful thinking. It is built on actions repeated day after day. Today marks the true beginning, not just of a 21-day challenge, but of a completely different life. The old you is gone. The future you have always dreamed of is waiting to be built, and it all starts now. So, swambak on this 21-day journey together. Understand that we are not just changing your routine or your habits, we are changing your identity. We are changing how you see yourself, how you think about yourself, and ultimately who you are at the deepest level. And when that changes, everything else changes with it. Chapter 2. Crafting your compelling vision. Becoming who you are meant to be. Now that you have burned the old you to the ground, it is time to design the future you want to create. You cannot just leave behind the past and step into an empty space. If you do not give your life a clear direction, you will slip right back into old patterns. This is where most people fail. They try to change without knowing what they are changing into. Your identity is the most powerful force in your life. It is the invisible hand that guides every decision you make, every action you take, and every result you create. Most people never question their identity because they do not even realize they have one. They think they are just being themselves, never understanding that their current self is nothing more than a collection of beliefs, stories, and patterns that were installed in them over years of conditioning. But here is what changes everything. Your identity is not fixed. It is not written in stone. It is not determined by your genes, your past, or your circumstances. Your identity is a choice. It is a story you tell yourself about who you are. And like any story, it can be rewritten. Right now, you have an identity that is keeping you stuck. Maybe you see yourself as someone who struggles with confidence, someone who is not good with money, someone who is unlucky in relationships, or someone who just cannot seem to get their life together. These are not facts about you. They are beliefs about you. And beliefs, no matter how deeply held, can be changed. The problem is that most people try to change their results while keeping the same identity. They want to be successful while still seeing themselves as a failure. They want to be confident while still believing they are not good enough. They want to be wealthy while still identifying as someone who struggles with money. This creates an internal conflict that sabotages every effort to change. Your subconscious mind is like a thermostat. It works tirelessly to keep you consistent with your current identity. If you see yourself as someone who makes $50,000 a year, and suddenly you start making $100,000, your subconscious will find ways to bring you back down. It will create emergencies that require you to spend money, or make you unconsciously sabotage your income, or create situations that feel familiar and comfortable to your current identity. This is why lottery winners often end up broke within a few years. This is why people who lose weight often gain it back. This is why people who try to change their lives often find themselves right back where they started. They changed their circumstances without changing their identity. But when you change your identity first, everything else follows naturally. When you truly see yourself as successful, you automatically make successful decisions. When you genuinely believe you are worthy of love, you naturally attract healthier relationships. When you know in your core that you are capable and confident, you instinctively take actions that reinforce that reality. The question is, who do you want to become? Not what do you want to achieve, not what do you want to have, but who do you want to be? Because once you are clear on that, the path forward becomes obvious. Maybe you want to become someone who is naturally confident and charismatic. Maybe you want to become someone who is financially abundant and successful. Maybe you want to become someone who is healthy, energetic, and disciplined. Maybe you want to become someone who is peaceful, fulfilled, and purposeful. Whatever it is, you need to get crystal clear on this new identity. Think about it like this. If you were setting out on a road trip, you would not just get in the car and start driving aimlessly. You would have a destination in mind. You would set the GPS. You would know where you were going, even if you did not know every turn along the way. Your life works the same way. Without a vision, you wander. With a vision, you move with purpose. The difference between the people who achieve greatness and those who stay stuck is simple: clarity. Successful people do not just have goals. They have a crystal clear picture of the life they are creating. Their vision is so compelling that it literally pulls them forward, even on the hard days. When the alarm goes off in the morning, their vision is what gets them out of bed. When challenges come, their vision is what keeps them pushing forward instead of giving up. So what does this mean for you? It means you need to get specific. Vague dreams lead to vague actions. Saying, "I want to be successful," is not enough. Success to one person might mean financial freedom, while to another, it means deep relationships or living in a state of peace and health. You need to define your version of success. If you do not, you will end up chasing someone else's dream and wondering why you feel unfulfilled. Here is a powerful exercise. Close your eyes and imagine it is 12 months from now. You have been living with focus, discipline, and commitment for an entire year. What does your life look like? Where do you live? What does your morning feel like when you wake up? Who surrounds you? How much money are you making? What kind of person are you? Do not just think about what you want to have. Think about who you want to become. The clearer your vision, the more powerful it becomes. Write it down in detail. Do not just keep it in your head. There is something almost magical about putting words on paper. It makes the dream tangible. It shifts it from a wish to a commitment. Be bold. Do not edit yourself because of fear or doubt. Write the vision of the life you truly want, even if it feels impossible right now. Once you have written it, break it into categories. Maybe you have a vision for your health, your finances, your relationships, and your personal growth. Define what extraordinary looks like in each area. When you can see it clearly, you can start making decisions that align with it. Here is why this matters so much. Life will try to pull you in 100 different directions. People will have opinions. Distractions will compete for your attention. Without a strong vision, you will be swept up by whatever feels urgent in the moment. But with a strong vision, you will have an internal compass that keeps you on track. Every decision becomes simpler. Does this move me closer to my vision or further away? If it brings you closer, you say yes. If it pulls you away, you say no. It really is that simple, but only when you know what you are moving toward. Here is the crucial part. You cannot wait until you feel ready to step into this new identity. You cannot wait until you have evidence that you are this person. You cannot wait until it feels natural or comfortable. You have to start being this person now, even while your current circumstances suggest otherwise. This is what I call identity rehearsal. You start practicing being the person you want to become before you actually become them. You start thinking like them, speaking like them, carrying yourself like them, and making decisions like them. At first, it will feel like you are pretending or acting. That is normal. Every actor feels awkward when they first step in a role, but the more they practice, the more natural it becomes. Your new identity needs to be specific, compelling, and emotionally charged. It is not enough to say, I want to be successful. Success means different things to different people. You need to define exactly what kind of person you are becoming. What do they think about? How do they carry themselves? What decisions do they make? How do they respond to challenges? What is their energy like? What are their values? What is their daily routine? The more detailed and vivid you can make this new identity, the more your subconscious mind can grab onto it and start making it real. You're essentially creating a character that you are going to step into and embody for the next 21 days. And just like any character, the more you practice being them, the more natural it becomes. But there is a deeper layer to this. Your new identity is not just about how you see yourself. It is about how you relate to the world. When you shift your identity, you shift your entire reality. You start noticing different things, attracting different opportunities, and experiencing different results. The world does not change, but your perception of it does. And in practical terms, it's just the same thing. This is why identity transformation is so powerful. It is not just personal development, it is reality creation. When you change who you are, you change what is possible for you. You change what you are capable of. You change what you deserve. You change everything. In the next 21 days, your vision will be your fuel. There will be days when you do not feel like showing up, days when the old you tries to creep back in. In those moments, go back to your vision. Read it out loud. Visualize it in your mind. Feel it in your heart. Let it pull you forward when willpower feels weak. Remember this. People who drift through life without a vision end up living by default. They react to circumstances instead of creating them. But people with a clear, compelling vision live by design. They do not wait for the future happen. They build it. Today you are choosing to live by design. You have destroyed the old you, and now you are laying the foundation for the new you. Create a vision so vivid, so real that it excites you and scares you at the same time. Because when your vision is powerful enough, you will not need to push yourself endlessly. The vision will pull you. And when that happens, transformation becomes inevitable. This is how you create a future worth fighting for. This is how you become unrecognizable. So for the next 21 days, you are not going to be working on improving yourself. You are going to be practicing being the person you are meant to become. You are going to be rehearsing a new identity until it becomes so natural, so automatic, so integrated into your being, that it is no longer an act, it is just who you are. Chapter 3. Extreme Ownership. Embracing your liberty. Up until now, you may have blamed people, circumstances, or even luck for where you are in life. Maybe you have pointed to your past, your upbringing, your lack of resources, or the unfairness of the world. And you know what? Some of that might be true. Maybe people did hurt you. Maybe opportunities were stolen from you. Maybe life has not been fair. But here is the harsh reality. Blaming will not change a thing. Blame keeps you stuck. Ownership sets you free. Taking extreme ownership means you stop pointing fingers outward and start looking inward. It means you accept that no one's coming to rescue you. Not tomorrow, not next year, not ever. If your life is going to change, it will change because you decided to change it. That can feel overwhelming at first, but it is actually the most empowering truth you will ever embrace. Because if you are the problem, then you are also the solution. Most people do not want to hear this. They would rather keep their list of excuses. They would rather say, I would be successful if my boss was not so difficult, or I would be healthier if my family supported me, or I would be happier if life just gave me a break. But every time you say those words, you give away your power. You hand the steering wheel of your life to someone or something else, and then you wonder why you feel stuck. From this moment forward, you take the wheel back. Everything in your life, your health, your relationships, your finances, your happiness, is your responsibility. Not your parents, not your bosses, not society's, not the government's, yours. That does not mean everything is your fault. There is a difference between blame and responsibility. You might not have caused a problem, but it is still your job to deal with it. If someone spills coffee on your shirt, it is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to clean it up if you do not want to walk around stained all day. This concept of ownership is deeply intertwined with the very idea of liberty. True personal liberty is not granted, it is claimed. It is the freedom to direct your own life, independent of external forces. But this freedom comes with the fundamental responsibility to act. Just as a free citizen must uphold the laws of a free society, a free individual must uphold the principles of self-governance. The philosopher Epictetus, a former slave who later became a revered Stoic, taught that our freedom lies not in controlling external events, but in controlling our responses to them. He understood that while circumstances may be imposed upon us, our judgments and actions are always our own. This is the essence of extreme ownership, recognizing the vast domain of what you can control and relentlessly acting within it. When you fully embrace this mindset, something incredible happens. You stop waiting. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for someone to notice you. You stop waiting for life to magically get better. You start acting like the CEO of your own life, making decisions with purpose and direction. Here is how you begin practicing extreme ownership in these next 21 days. First, take a hard look at every area of your life, your career, your relationships, your health, your finances. Write them down and ask yourself, where am I not taking full responsibility? Be brutally honest. If you are unhappy at work, do not just blame your boss. Ask yourself, what have I done to either improve this situation or change it completely? If your health is suffering, do not just blame your genetics or your schedule. Ask yourself, what actions am I taking every day to create a healthier me? Next, eliminate victim language from your vocabulary. Words are powerful. When you say things like, I cannot, or it is not my fault, or there is nothing I can do, you program your mind to stay powerless. Replace those words with statements like, I choose, or I will, or here is how I will fix it. Even if you do not have all the answers yet, speaking with ownership changes how you think and feel. The language of liberty is one of agency and intent. Finally, commit to solving problems, not just identifying them. Anyone can complain about what is wrong. Few people actually take action to make things right. The more you focus on solutions, the more powerful you become. Extreme ownership is not easy. It requires humility, courage, and relentless honesty. It means admitting when you have messed up. It means accepting that you have wasted time, avoided hard decisions, or settled for less than you deserve. But it also gives you freedom. Once stop blaming and start owning. You realize you are not trapped by your past. You are free to create a completely new future. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who have built incredible lives. None of them got there by sitting around waiting for someone else to hand them success. They made bold moves. They owned their choices. They did whatever it took. And now so will you. The old you is gone. The new you does not make excuses. The new you takes action, even when it is uncomfortable. From this day forward, no more blaming, no more waiting, no more hoping that someone else will fix things. You are in charge. You are the driver. And if you stay committed to this mindset for the next 21 days and beyond, there will come a moment when you look at your life and realize you do not even recognize it because you built it with your own two hands, claiming your inherent liberty. Chapter 4: Breaking the Chains of Your Past Self, the Path to Inner Freedom. Before you can fully embrace who you are meant to be, you have to break free from who you have been. This is not just about changing your behavior or adopting new habits. This is about dismantling the invisible prison that your past self has built around your current possibilities. Most people do not realize they are living in this prison because the bars are made of beliefs, and beliefs are invisible until you learn to see them. Your past self created a version of reality that made sense given the information, experiences, and conditioning available at the time. If you grew up in an environment where money was scarce, your past self developed beliefs about money being hard to come by. If you experienced rejection or criticism, your past self developed beliefs about not being good enough. If you watched the adults around you struggle with relationships, your past self developed beliefs about love being complicated and painful. These beliefs were not wrong, given the context in which they were formed. They were actually intelligent adaptations to the environment you found yourself in. Your past self was doing the best they could with what they had. But here is the problem. Those beliefs are still running your life today. Even though your circumstances, your capabilities, and your understanding have completely changed, you are essentially living your life through the lens of outdated software. Imagine trying to run today's most advanced applications on a computer from the 1990s. It would crash, freeze, and malfunction constantly. That is what is happening in your life when you try to create modern success with ancient programming. The first step in breaking free is recognizing what these limiting beliefs actually are. Most people have never taken the time to examine their own belief systems because beliefs feel like facts. They do not feel like opinions or perspectives. They feel like reality itself. If you believe you are not good enough, it does not feel like a belief. It feels like an objective truth about yourself. But every belief you have about yourself, about money, about relationships, about success, about what is possible for you, is nothing more than a story you have been telling yourself for so long that you have forgotten it is just a story. And stories can be written. Think about the areas of your life where you struggle the most. What beliefs do you hold about these areas? What stories do you tell yourself about why things are the way they are? What facts about yourself do you accept without question? These are not facts, they are programs, and programs can be reprogrammed. Maybe you tell yourself you are not a naturally confident person. Maybe you believe you are not good with money. Maybe you think you are unlucky in love. Maybe you have convinced yourself that success is for other people, not you. Maybe you believe you are too old, too young, too inexperienced, or too damaged to change. These are all stories, and they are all keeping you trapped in a version of yourself that no longer serves you. The most insidious part of these limiting beliefs is that they are self-fulfilling prophecies. When you believe you are not confident, you act in ways that reinforce that belief. You avoid situations that would challenge you to be confident. You interpret neutral events as evidence of your lack of confidence. You unconsciously sabotage opportunities that would force you to step into confidence. Your belief creates the very reality it describes. But this also means that when you change the belief, you change the reality. When you start believing you are naturally confident, you start acting in ways that reinforce that new belief. You seek out situations that allow you to practice confidence. You interpret events in ways that support your confident identity. You unconsciously create opportunities that require you to be confident. The same mechanism that kept you trapped now works to set you free. Breaking these chains requires more than just positive thinking or affirmations. It requires a systematic dismantling of your old identity and a deliberate construction of your new one. This is deep psychological work, and it is not always comfortable. You're essentially performing surgery on your own mind, removing the parts that no longer serve you and implanting new patterns that align with who you are becoming. The resistance you feel when you try to change is not weakness. It is your past self fighting for survival. Your old identity knows that if you truly transform, it will cease to exist. So it will throw everything it has at you to maintain the status quo. It will create fear, doubt, and anxiety. It will give you a million reasons why change is impossible or dangerous. It will make you feel like you're being fake or inauthentic when you try to be different. This resistance is actually a good sign. It means you are touching something real, something that matters. The stronger the resistance, the more important the change you're trying to make. Your job is not to eliminate the resistance. It is to move forward in spite of it. Every time you choose to act from your new identity instead of your old one, you weaken the old programming and strengthen the new. Every time you choose courage over fear, confidence over doubt, abundance over scarcity, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are creating new neural pathways and allowing old ones to atrophy. This process requires patience with yourself, but impatience with your excuses. You have to be compassionate enough to understand why you have been the way you have been, but decisive enough to refuse to stay that way. You have to honor your past without being imprisoned by it. The beautiful thing about breaking these chains is that once they are broken, they can never hold you the same way again. Once you realize that your limitations were largely self-imposed, once you experience the freedom of operating from a new identity, once you see what is possible when you stop playing small, there is no going back. The person who was trapped by those old beliefs simply stops existing. This is what we are doing over the next 21 days. We are not just changing your habits or improving your mindset. We are liberating you from the prison of your past self and setting you free to become who you are truly meant to be. We are breaking the chains that have held you back and giving you the keys to a completely new life, a life of true inner freedom. Chapter 5: The Neuroscience of Transformation, Rewiring Your Brain for Liberty. What I am about to share with you will fundamentally change how you think about change itself. For decades, scientists believed that the brain was fixed after childhood, that neural pathways were permanent, and that personality and capabilities were largely set in stone by the time you reached adulthood. This belief was not just held by scientists, it permeated our entire culture. It is why people say things like, "You cannot teach an old dog new tricks," or "people do not change." But this belief was completely wrong. In the last 2 decades, neuroscience has discovered something so revolutionary, so powerful, that it literally rewrites the rules of human potential. And it means that your brain is constantly changing, constantly rewiring itself, constantly creating new neural pathways based on your thoughts, experiences, and behaviors. This is not just a minor adjustment to our understanding of the brain. This is a complete paradigm shift that changes everything we thought we knew about change, about learning, about what is possible for human beings. Your brain is not fixed. Your personality is not permanent. Your capabilities are not set in stone. Every single day, with every thought you think and every action you take, you are literally sculpting your brain. Here is how it works. Every time you think a thought, your brain creates a neural pathway. The first time you think it, the pathway is weak, like a faint trail through the forest. But every time you think that same thought again, you strengthen that pathway. You make it wider, deeper, more permanent. Eventually, if you think the same thoughts often enough, these pathways become superhighways in your brain, automatic patterns that fire without conscious effort. This is why your current patterns feel so automatic. If you have been thinking thoughts of self-doubt for years, you have created superhighways of self-doubt in your brain. If you have been operating from fear and scarcity, you have built neural networks that automatically generate fear and scarcity. If you have been living from a place of limitation and struggle, your brain has literally organized itself around limitation and struggle. But here is the revolutionary part. You can create new pathways just as easily as you created the old ones. Every time you choose a new thought, every time you act from a new identity, every time you practice a new way of being, you are laying down new neural pathways. And when you do this consistently over time, these new pathways become stronger than the old ones. Scientists used to think this process could only happen during childhood, when the brain was still developing. Now we know it happens throughout your entire life. Your brain at 50 is just as capable of creating new neural pathways as your brain at 5. Your capacity for transformation does not diminish with age. It only requires conscious direction. This is why 21 days is so powerful from a neurological standpoint. Research shows that it takes approximately 21 days of consistent practice to begin forming new neural pathways, and about 66 days for them to become automatic. So in 21 days, you are not just changing your behavior. You are literally changing the structure of your brain. You are rewiring yourself at the most fundamental level possible. But there is a specific way to accelerate this process, and it involves understanding how your brain actually creates change. Your brain changes through 3 primary mechanisms: repetition, emotion, and novelty. When you combine all 3, you create what neuroscientists call enhanced neuroplasticity, which means your brain changes faster and more permanently. Repetition is obvious. The more you practice a new thought pattern or behavior, the stronger the neural pathway becomes. But it is not just about mechanical repetition. It is about conscious, deliberate repetition with full attention and awareness. Every time you consciously choose to think or act from your new identity, you are sending a signal to your brain that this is important. This is the new direction we are going. Emotion is the accelerator. When you attach strong emotion to a new thought or behavior, your brain releases neurochemicals that strengthen the neural pathways associated with that experience. This is why traumatic events can create instant, permanent changes in behavior, even from a single experience. The emotion was so strong that it created an immediate, powerful neural pathway. You can use this same mechanism for positive change. When you practice your new identity with genuine emotion, with excitement and enthusiasm and belief, you are essentially giving your brain a neurochemical boost that makes the change happen faster and stick better. This is why visualization is so powerful when it is done with real feeling, not just mental imagery. Novelty keeps your brain engaged and plastic. When you do the same things in the same way, over and over, your brain goes into autopilot. When you introduce new challenges, new environments, new experiences, Your brain stays alert and adaptable. This is why stepping outside your comfort zone is not just psychologically beneficial, it is neurologically beneficial. It keeps your brain in a state where change is possible. The most powerful insight from neuroscience is that your brain does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. When you mentally rehearse being confident, your brain fires the same neural pathways as when you actually act confident. When you visualize success with full sensory detail and emotion, your brain treats it as a real experience and strengthens the neural pathways associated with success. This means you can literally practice your new identity in your mind, and your brain will treat it as real practice. You can rehearse being confident, successful, peaceful, or powerful, and your brain will start wiring itself confidence, success, peace, and power. Mental rehearsal is not just preparation for change, it is change. But here is what most people get wrong. They try to think their way into a new way of being, instead of acting their way into a new way of thinking. Your brain changes more rapidly through new actions than through new thoughts. When you physically do something different, when you take actions that are aligned with your new identity, you create stronger and more permanent neural changes than when you just think about being different. This is why the 21-day transformation process focuses so heavily on embodiment and action. We are not just changing your mindset. We are changing your neural pathways through deliberate, consistent, emotionally charged actions that reinforce your new identity. We are using the full power of neuroplasticity to literally rewire your brain for success. The implications of this are staggering. It means that no matter how long you have been stuck in old patterns, no matter how deeply ingrained your current identity feels, no matter how permanent your limitations seem, you have the power to change at the most fundamental neurological level. You are not trying to overcome your brain. You are working with your brain's natural capacity for change. Over the next 21 days, every single thing we do is designed to maximize neuroplasticity and accelerate the rewiring process. We are not just hoping for change. We are engineering it at the cellular level. We are not just thinking different thoughts. We are building different brains. And when you have a different brain, you have a different life, a life of conscious liberty. Chapter 6: Building Your Transformation Blueprint and Daily Protocol. Now that you understand the psychology and neuroscience of transformation, it is time to create your personal blueprint for the next 21 days. This is not a generic plan that works for everyone. This is a customized roadmap that is specifically designed for who you are now and who you want to become. The more precise and personalized this blueprint is, the more powerful your transformation will be. Most people fail at transformation because they approach it haphazardly. They have a vague idea of wanting to improve their life or be more successful, but they do not have a clear, specific, measurable plan for how to get there. They are essentially trying to drive to a destination without a map and then wondering why they keep getting lost. Your transformation blueprint is your map. It is going to tell you exactly where you are going, exactly how you are going to get there, and exactly how you will know when you have arrived. It is going to eliminate confusion, reduce resistance, and maximize your chances of success by giving your brain clear, specific instructions for change. The first component of your blueprint is your transformation vision. This is a detailed, vivid, emotionally compelling description of who you are becoming and what your life will look like when the transformation is complete. This is not just a goal or an outcome. It is a complete identity shift that encompasses every area of your life. Your transformation vision needs to be written in present tense, as if it is already happening. Instead of saying, "I want to be confident," you write, "I am naturally confident," and charismatic in every situation. Instead of saying, "I hope to be successful," you write, "I am a highly successful person who creates value and abundance wherever I go." You are not describing a future possibility. You are describing a current reality that you are stepping into. This vision needs to be comprehensive. How do you think when you are operating from this new identity? How do you feel? How do you carry yourself? How do you speak? How do you dress? How do you spend your time? What kinds of decisions do you make? What is your morning routine? How do you handle challenges? What is your relationship with money? How do you interact with other people? What is your energy like? The more detailed and specific this vision is, the more your subconscious mind can grab onto it and start making it real. Want to create such a clear picture of your new identity that your brain cannot help but start moving you in that direction. You want to make it so compelling that staying in your old identity feels uncomfortable and unnatural. But a vision without a strategy is just a fantasy. The second component of your blueprint is your transformation strategy. This is the specific, systematic approach you are going to use to bridge the gap between who you are now and who you are becoming. It is broken down into 4 key areas: mindset shifts, behavior changes, environment design, and identity reinforcement. Mindset shifts are the new thought patterns, beliefs, and perspectives you are going to adopt. These are not just positive affirmations, they are fundamental changes in how you interpret reality. 4. If your old mindset saw challenges as threats, your new mindset sees them as opportunities. If your old mindset focused on what could go wrong, your new mindset focuses on what could go right. 4. If your old mindset operated from scarcity, your new mindset operates from abundance. Behavior changes are the specific actions you are going to take every day that align with your new identity. These are not random habits, they are strategic behaviors that reinforce who you are becoming. If you are becoming someone who is confident, you might commit to speaking up in every meeting. If you are becoming someone who is successful, you might commit to taking one high-value action every day. If you are becoming someone who is healthy, you might commit to moving your body for at least 30 minutes every day. Environment design is about creating physical and social environments that support your transformation. Your environment is constantly programming your subconscious mind. So, you want to make sure it is programming you for success, not failure. This might mean changing your workspace, upgrading your wardrobe, cleaning and organizing your living space, or surrounding yourself with people who embody the qualities you are developing. Identity reinforcement is the ongoing process of reminding yourself who you are becoming and celebrating evidence of your transformation. This includes daily visualization, affirmations, journaling, and conscious recognition of moments. When you are operating from your new identity, the more you reinforce your new identity, the faster it becomes automatic and natural. The third component of your blueprint is your transformation metrics. These are the specific, measurable ways you are going to track your progress over the 21 days. Transformation is not always obvious in the moment, especially internal transformation. Having clear metrics helps you recognize progress when it is happening and course correct when necessary. Your metrics should include both internal measures and external measures. Internal measures might include your confidence level. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often you catch yourself thinking from your new identity, or how natural your new behaviors feel. External measures might include specific actions you have taken, opportunities you have created, or results you have achieved. The key is to measure progress, not perfection. You are not trying to become perfect overnight. You are trying to become better every day. Small, consistent improvements compound over time into massive transformation. Celebrating small wins builds momentum and keeps you motivated when the process gets challenging. The fourth component of your blueprint is your transformation support system. This includes the resources, tools, and people that will help you stay committed and accountable throughout the 21 days. This might include books, podcasts, or courses that reinforce your new identity. It might include apps or tools that help you track your progress. It might include friends, family members, or mentors who support your transformation and hold you accountable. The most important part of your support system is accountability. Research shows that people are 65% more likely to achieve their goals when they commit to another person, and 95% more likely when they have ongoing accountability meetings. This is why it is crucial to share your transformation goals with someone you trust and set up regular check-ins to discuss your progress. Finally, your blueprint needs to include your transformation contingency plan. This is your strategy for handling inevitable challenges, setbacks, and resistance. Transformation is never a straight line from point A to point B, and there will be days when you do not feel like staying committed. There will be moments when your old identity fights back. There will be situations that test your resolve. Having a contingency plan, and you've already decided how you are going to handle these challenges before they arise. You have identified the most likely obstacles and created specific strategies for overcoming them. You have prepared yourself mentally and emotionally for the resistance you will face. So when it shows up, you are ready for it. Your transformation blueprint is your guide, your accountability partner, and your roadmap all rolled into one. It takes the guesswork out of transformation and gives you a clear, systematic approach for becoming who you are meant to be. Over the next 21 days, this blueprint will be your North Star, keeping you focused, motivated, and moving in the right direction. No matter what challenges arise, the more detailed and personalized your blueprint is, the more successful your transformation will be. This is not something you can rush through or do halfway. Take the time to really think through each component, to get clear on exactly what you want and exactly how you are going to get it. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make right now. Now we get into the practical mechanics of daily transformation. This is not about adding more tasks to your already busy schedule. This is about completely restructuring how you move through each day so that every moment becomes an opportunity to reinforce your new identity. Most people live their days on autopilot, unconsciously reinforcing the same patterns that keep them stuck. We are going to flip that script entirely. Your day needs to be designed around identity reinforcement, not just productivity. Every morning, you are going to wake up and consciously step into your new identity. Every evening, you are going to review how well you embodied that identity throughout the day. Every moment in between becomes a chance to practice being the person you are becoming. The morning activation sequence is crucial because it sets the neurological tone for your entire day. Within the first hour of waking, your brain is in a highly programmable state. Your brainwaves are transitioning from the theta state of sleep to the alpha state of relaxed awareness. This is when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming. Start with identity visualization. Before you even get out of bed, spend 5 minutes mentally rehearsing your new identity. See yourself moving through the day with confidence, making decisions from abundance, responding to challenges with resilience. Feel the emotions of being this person. Experience the energy of operating from this new identity. Your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So this mental rehearsal is literally programming your neural pathways for success. Next is the identity declaration. Stand in front of the mirror and declare who you are becoming. Not who you want to become, who you are becoming. Speak with conviction, with certainty, with the energy of someone who knows exactly who they are. Your voice has power, especially when you are speaking to yourself. Every declaration rewires your brain at a deeper level. Then comes embodied movement. Your body holds patterns just as much as your mind does. How you move, how you carry yourself, how you breathe, all communicate to your subconscious mind who you are. Spend 10 minutes moving your body in a way that embodies your new identity. If you are becoming confident, move with confidence. If you are becoming powerful, move with power. If you are becoming peaceful, move with grace and centeredness. The evening integration process is equally important. This is when you review the day and consciously reinforce the identity shifts you made. Your brain consolidates memories and learning during sleep, so what you focus on before bed has a disproportionate impact on your transformation. Review your identity wins. What moments during the day did you successfully operate from your new identity? What decisions did you make that aligned with who you are becoming? What challenges did you handle in a new way? Celebrate these moments, no matter how small they seem. Recognition reinforces neural pathways and makes those patterns more likely to repeat. Identify growth opportunities. What situations triggered your old identity? What moments did you fall back into old patterns? This is not about judgment or self-criticism. It is about awareness and learning. Every time you catch yourself operating from your old identity, you create an opportunity to choose differently next time. Set tomorrow's identity intention. Based on today's experiences, how will you show up tomorrow? What specific situations will you approach from your new identity? What old patterns will you consciously interrupt? Having a clear intention for tomorrow programs your subconscious to look for opportunities to embody your new identity. Throughout the day, you need identity check-ins. These are brief moments where you pause and ask yourself, who am I being right now? Am I operating from my new identity or my old one? These check-ins create conscious awareness of your identity state and give you the opportunity to course correct in real time. The most powerful transformation happens in micro moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do you respond from your old identity or your new one? When you face a challenging situation at work, do you react from fear or from confidence? When you are making decisions about how to spend your time or money, are you choosing from scarcity or abundance? These micro moments, accumulated over 21 days, create massive transformation. Your daily protocol also needs to include identity anchoring. These are specific physical actions that connect you to your new identity throughout the day. Maybe it is the way you sit during meetings, the way you shake hands, the way you answer the phone, or the way you walk into a room. These physical anchors serve as constant reminders of who you are becoming and help maintain your new identity state, even when you are busy or distracted. The key to making this protocol sustainable is integration, not addition. You are not adding 20 new habits to your day. You are transforming how you do the things you already do. You are bringing consciousness and intention to activities that were previously unconscious and automatic. You saw in your existing routine as a framework for identity transformation, paving your way to a life of greater liberty. Chapter 7. Mastering your mornings, winning the day and your life. If you want to change your life, you must first change the way you start your day. Your mornings set the tone for everything that follows. Think about it. When you wake up late, rush out the door, and start your day in chaos, how does the rest of the day feel? Scattered, unfocused, reactive. But when you wake up with intention, calm, and clarity, you create momentum that carries you forward. Successful people understand this. They do not leave their mornings to chance. They design them like an architect designs a masterpiece. Why? Because the first hour of your day is like the foundation of a building. If it is strong and solid, everything built on top of it will stand tall. But if it is weak and shaky, the whole structure eventually crumbles. Most people begin their day by reacting to the world. The first thing they do is grab their phone, check messages, scroll through social media, and immediately let other people's demands and opinions invade their mind. By the time they finish breakfast, they are already overwhelmed. They have not even thought about their own goals or priorities, yet they are drowning in everyone else's noise. That is not how you win. Here is the truth. If you do not take control of your mornings, someone else will. Your phone, your job, the news, they will all dictate your mood, your focus, and your energy before you have even had a chance to set the tone yourself. So for the next 21 days, you are going to design and protect your mornings like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. Start by creating a morning ritual that prepares you mentally, physically, and emotionally for the day ahead. It does not have to be complicated, but it does have to be intentional. The first step is waking up earlier than usual. Even just 30 minutes earlier can give you the space you need to think, reflect, and plan without distraction. This quiet time is priceless. It is the moment when you set the direction for everything that will happen later. Once you are awake, avoid diving straight into your phone or emails. Instead, do something that centers you. For some people, it is meditation or deep breathing. For others, it is reading something inspiring or writing in a journal. The goal is simple: quiet the noise and focus on who you want to be today. Consider the words of Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers and a fierce advocate for personal liberty and self-improvement. His famous daily schedule emphasized waking early to rise, wash, and address powerful goodness, followed by planning the day's business. He understood that a well-begun day was a day claimed for personal freedom and purpose. Next, move your body. It does not matter if it is a full workout, a quick stretch, or a short walk outside. Physical movement wakes you up, releases tension, and tells your brain it is time to show up. Even 5 minutes of movement can shift your energy completely. Then, review your priorities for the day. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things I need to accomplish today to move closer to my vision? Write them down. These are your non-negotiables, tasks that will create real progress. When you know what truly matters, you stop wasting time on distractions. Another powerful tool is gratitude. Take a moment to think about 3 things you are genuinely thankful for. Gratitude rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than lack. It is hard to feel stressed or defeated when you are in a state of appreciation. Here is why all of this matters. When you start your day with intention, you put yourself in the driver's seat. Instead of reacting to the world, you create the world you want to experience. It is like stepping onto a battlefield fully armed and ready, rather than wandering in unprepared. In the beginning, it may feel difficult to stick to a morning routine. The old you will try to convince you to hit snooze, to check your phone, to do it later. Do not listen. This is where discipline kicks in. Remind yourself that every morning is a fresh opportunity to become the person you want to be. Imagine how different your life could look if you mastered just this one thing. Over time, these mornings will compound. The clarity, focus, and energy you build each day will spill into every area of your life: your career, your relationships, your health, your confidence. It all starts with that first hour. For the next 21 days, guard your mornings fiercely. Make them sacred. Do not let anyone or anything steal that time from you. Because when you master your mornings, you do not just win the day, you set yourself on a path to win your entire life, embodying true personal liberty. Chapter 8. Erasing limiting habits and embracing new freedoms. By now, you started to see the outline of a new you taking shape. You have burned the old identity, created a vision, taken ownership, and started designing powerful mornings. But here is the thing. None of it will stick if you keep dragging your old habits into your new life. You cannot rise to your full potential while carrying the same destructive patterns that kept you average. It is like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. No matter how fast you try to go, you will always be weighed down. Habits are powerful. They shape your days, your weeks, and eventually your entire life. Most of what you do every day is not the result of conscious decisions. It is automatic behavior. That is why bad habits are so dangerous. They operate in the background, silently sabotaging your progress without you even noticing. And here is the truth. Success is not just about adding good habits. It is also about erasing the bad ones that keep you stuck in cycles of frustration and failure. The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Over the next 21 days, start observing yourself like a detective. Notice the patterns that show up in your life. When do you procrastinate? What triggers you to scroll on your phone mindlessly for hours? When do you reach for unhealthy food or skip workouts? When do you let fear or self-doubt stop you from taking action? Write these moments down. The goal is not to judge yourself, but to expose the invisible routines that have been controlling you. Just as an explorer meticulously maps unknown territory, you must map the hidden landscapes of your own habitual behaviors. Once you have identified your destructive habits, it is time to face a hard truth. These habits did not just appear out of nowhere. You built them brick by brick through repetition. And the only way to destroy them is to stop feeding them. Imagine fire burning in a fireplace. If you stop adding wood, the fire does not go out instantly. It flickers, it fights, it tries to stay alive, but eventually it dies. Your bad habits work the same way. When you start giving them your attention and energy, they lose their grip on you. Let us get practical. For each habit you want to erase, identify the trigger, the thing that starts the behavior. Maybe you overeat when you are stressed. Maybe you waste time on social media when you are bored. Maybe you procrastinate whenever you feel overwhelmed. Once you know the trigger, you can disrupt the cycle. Instead of automatically following the old pattern, you create a new response. Stress hits. Go for a walk instead of raiding the kitchen. Feeling bored? Read a chapter of a book instead of scrolling endlessly. The key is to replace, not just remove. Nature hates a vacuum. If you simply stop doing something without filling the gap, you will fall back into the old habit eventually. Another powerful tool is environment design. Most people rely solely on willpower to fight their bad habits, but willpower is like a phone battery. It drains throughout the day. A better strategy is to make the habit harder to do. If you want to stop eating junk food, do not keep it in the house. If you want to cut down on mindless scrolling, delete the apps from your phone or set screen time limits. If you want to stop hitting snooze, put your alarm clock across the room so you have to physically get up to turn it off. The easier it is to engage in a bad habit, the more likely you are to repeat it. So, flip the script. Make bad habits inconvenient and good habits effortless. This will not be easy. Your old self will fight back because those habits have been with you for a long time. There will be moments when you slip up, and that is okay. What matters is that you do not give up. One bad day does not erase your progress. The goal is progress, not perfection. Imagine where you could be 21 days from now if you simply stop doing the things that hold you back. Imagine the energy, the focus, the confidence you would gain. Removing bad habits creates space for success to flow in. It is like clearing weeds from a garden. Only when the weeds are gone can the flowers truly grow. So today, make a list of the habits you are ready to erase. Be honest, be specific, and then commit fully and completely to breaking free from them. Because the life you want is not just about what you start doing, it is also about what you finally stop doing. When you erase the habits that keep you stuck, you unlock the freedom to rise higher than you ever thought possible. You claim your rightful liberty from the tyranny of unconscious patterns. Chapter 9. Forging Unbreakable Self-Discipline. The Path to Inner Liberty. Motivation is a great spark, but it burns out quickly. You have felt it before. That rush of energy after listening to an inspiring message or setting a big goal. For a few days, you are unstoppable, but then life happens. You get tired. You get distracted. You start slipping back into old habits. This is why most people never reach their potential. They rely on motivation, and motivation is temporary. Discipline, on the other hand, is permanent. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation disappears. It is what separates people who dream from people who do. It is the reason some achieve greatness, while others stay stuck in the cycle of starting and stopping over and over again. 4. If you want to transform your life in 21 days, you must forge unbreakable self-discipline, the kind that does not crack under pressure, the kind that makes your actions non-negotiable. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it is about being harsh or living without joy, but real discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Think about it. When you are disciplined with your time, your health, your money, you gain control. You no longer live in chaos. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. Discipline gives you power. Without it, you drift. With it, you direct your life. This is the essence of true liberty, the freedom that comes from self-mastery, not from a lack of rules, but from rules you choose and commit to for your own highest good. As the Roman philosopher Seneca observed, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. True freedom comes from focused, disciplined action. The first step to building discipline is deciding who you are. When you see yourself as someone who follows through, you begin to act in alignment with that identity. For example, if you view yourself as a healthy person, skipping workouts feels unnatural. If you see yourself as someone who honors commitments, procrastinating feels wrong. Identity drives behavior. So, instead of saying, "I need to be more disciplined," start saying, "I am a disciplined person." This small shift changes everything. Next, start small. Too many people try to overhaul their entire life overnight. They create a huge to-do list, wake up at 5 o'clock a.m. and go all in, and by day 3, they crash. Discipline is like a muscle. You would not go to the gym for the first time and try to lift 300 pounds. You would start light, build strength, and gradually increase the weight. The same principle applies here. Choose 1 or 2 key areas to focus on and practice consistency. Even small wins build momentum. One powerful way to strengthen discipline is through daily non-negotiables. These small, specific actions you commit to doing no matter what. It could be drinking a certain amount of water, writing for 10 minutes, or exercising for 20 minutes. The key is to keep the promise to yourself every single day. Over time, these daily commitments send a message to your subconscious. I can trust myself. When I say I will do something, I do it. That trust is the foundation of unbreakable discipline. Here is a truth most people do not want to hear. Discipline is built through discomfort. Growth only happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Every time you push yourself to do something hard, wake up early, finish a task you have been avoiding, say no to a temptation, you are strengthening your discipline muscle. It will never feel easy in the moment, but the reward is lasting strength. Consider the Spartans, a society built on relentless self-discipline. Their dedication to rigorous training, even in extreme discomfort, was not about punishment, but about forging inner strength and collective liberty. While our battles are often internal, the principle holds true. Courage and self-mastery are cultivated in the face of hardship. Another key element is structure. Do do not rely on willpower alone. Willpower fades throughout the day. Instead, create systems that make discipline automatic. Plan your days the night before. Set up your environment to support your goals. If you want to eat healthy, prepare your meals in advance. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your clothes the night before. The fewer decisions you have to make, the easier it becomes to stay on track. When you slip, and you will, do not quit. Many people see one mistake as total failure. They miss one workout, break their diet, or procrastinate on a project, and then they spiral. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. If you fall, get back up immediately. The faster you recover, the stronger you become. Over the next 21 days, view each day as a test. Will you choose comfort or growth? Will you listen to the old voice that says, just this once? Or will you honor the new identity you are building? Each time you choose discipline, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Imagine yourself 21 days from now looking back with pride. You will see a trail of consistent actions, moments where you pushed through resistance, and a new level of strength you did not know you had. Discipline is not built in one grand moment. It is built in thousands of small decisions day after day. If you can master discipline, you can master anything, because with unbreakable self-discipline, nothing is out of reach. Your dreams become plans, your plans become reality, and you become unstoppable, not because you always felt like it, but because you acted, no matter how you felt. This is the bedrock of true self-governance and personal liberty. Chapter 10. Commanding your time. The architecture of a free life. Time is the most valuable resource you will ever have. Money can be lost and earned again. Opportunities can come and go. But once a single minute passes, it is gone forever. That is why successful people treat their time with absolute respect. They do not waste it, and they do not let other people steal it. For you want to completely transform your life in 21 days, you must learn to command your time, because the way you use your hours will determine the quality of your future. Most people live reactively. They wake up with no real plan, check their phone, and immediately get pulled into other people's agendas, emails, notifications, social media, endless to-do lists. Before they know it, half the day is gone, and they have accomplished nothing meaningful. They confuse being busy with being productive. They rush, they stress, they hustle, yet at the end of the week, they feel stuck in the same place. This happens because they have never truly decided what matters. Here is the truth. If you do not take control of your time, someone else will. Your boss, your friends, your phone, even random strangers online. They will all happily dictate how you spend your life if you let them. You cannot let that happen anymore. These next 21 days are about shifting from living by default to living by design. This is a foundational pillar of personal liberty. To be truly free, you must be sovereign over your own time. The Roman philosopher Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, argued that life feels short not because it truly is, but because we squander so much of it. He urged us to reclaim our time, to be present, and to devote ourselves to purposeful living, rather than being dragged along by the whims of others or the trivialities of daily life. The first step is clarity. You must know exactly what is important to you. Look at your vision, the future you created in Chapter 2. What are the 3 to 5 key areas that matter most? Maybe it is your health, your business, your relationships, your personal growth. Once you know your top priorities, you have a filter. If a task does not move you closer to those priorities, it is not worth your time. Next, plan your days with intention. Do not just wake up and hope to be productive. Design your schedule the night before. Write down your top 3 most important tasks for the next day, the things that will create real progress toward your goals. These are your non-negotiables. When you wake up, tackle them first. This is called eating the frog, a principle popularized by Mark Twain, and it prevents you from procrastinating on what really matters. One of the most powerful time tools is the time block method. Instead of working in a scattered way, assign specific blocks of time to specific tasks. For example, you might dedicate 9 o'clock a.m. to 10:30 a.m. until work on a project, 11 o'clock a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. to calls or meetings, and so on. During each block, you focus only on that task. No multitasking, no distractions. This helps you get more done in less time, because your brain is not constantly switching gears. Speaking of distractions, you must protect your focus like a fortress. Every time you check your phone or glance at social media, you break your concentration. It can take over 20 minutes to fully regain focus after a single interruption. That means even quick checks are costing you hours of productivity. Turn off notifications. Put your phone on silent or in another room while you work. Create an environment that supports concentration instead of constant distraction. Another key element is learning to say no. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something vital. Many people struggle with this because they do not want to disappoint others. But remember, your time is your life. Protecting it is not selfish. It is necessary for your personal liberty. Before you agree to anything, ask yourself, does this align with my vision? Does it move me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, decline politely and move on. It is also important to schedule rest and renewal. Commanding your time is not about working non-stop. It is about using your energy wisely. When you plan time for rest, exercise, and reflection, you perform at a much higher level when it is time to work. Think of yourself like an athlete, training hard, but also recovering smart. Over the next 21 days, track how you spend every hour. You may be shocked at how much time slips through the cracks on mindless activities. Awareness is the first step to change. Once you see where the leaks are, you can plug them and redirect that time into building the life you want. Imagine how different your life could look a year from now if you mastered this skill. The same 24 hours everyone else has could create extraordinary results for you because you use them with precision and purpose. Command your time, and you command your destiny, because your future is not built in years or even months. It is built in the minutes and hours you choose to spend today. Every moment is a vote for the life you want to live. Make those votes count and truly embrace the liberty of a well-directed life. Chapter 11. Rewiring your mind for relentless growth and internal dialogue mastery. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every action you take, every decision you make, every habit you build, it all begins with a single thought. If you want to change your life in these 21 days, you must start by changing the way you think. Because here is the hard truth. You can have the perfect plan, the perfect goals, and even the perfect opportunities. But if your mind is still programmed with fear, doubt, and limitations, you will sabotage yourself before you ever succeed. Think about a computer for a moment. If the operating system is outdated or full of bugs, no matter how powerful the hardware is, it will not run smoothly. Your mind works the same way. Many people are trying to build a new life on old mental software. They have upgraded their goals, but not their mindset. And that is why they keep ending up in the same place, frustrated and stuck. To truly transform, you have to rewire your mind for relentless growth. That means clearing out the toxic thoughts and replacing them with beliefs that push you forward instead of holding you back. The first step is awareness. Most of the thoughts running through your mind each day are not even yours. They are patterns you have absorbed from your family, your friends, your past experiences, and even society. Somewhere along the way, you started believing things like, I am not good enough, success is for other people, or I always mess things up. These lies have been playing on repeat for years, and they have shaped your actions without you even realizing it. The great Greek philosopher Socrates famously said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." This applies profoundly to our internal monologue. To gain mastery, we must first examine the thoughts that govern us. For the next 21 days, I want you to become the observer of your thoughts. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. When you catch a negative or limiting belief, do not just accept it as truth. Pause and question it. Ask yourself, who told me this? Where did this belief come from? Is it helping me or hurting me? When you shine a light on these lies, they start to lose their power. Once you identify the thoughts that no longer serve you, replace them with empowering ones. This is where affirmations and visualization come into play. For example, if your old belief says, I am terrible at staying consistent, your new belief might be, I am disciplined and follow through on my commitments. At first, this might feel fake. That is normal. Your brain has been programmed with the old message for so long that the new one will feel unfamiliar. With repetition, the new belief starts to take root. Visualization is another powerful tool. Each morning, close your eyes and picture yourself living the life you want. See yourself acting with confidence, achieving your goals, and handling challenges with strength. The brain does not fully distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. By visualizing your success daily, you are training your mind to believe it is possible, and when your mind believes, your actions follow. But rewiring your mind is not just about positive thinking, it is also about embracing discomfort and challenge. A growth mindset means seeing obstacles, not as signs to quit, but as opportunities to grow stronger. When something feels hard, instead of saying, I cannot do this, shift to this is how I get better. Every challenge becomes a classroom, every failure a lesson, every setback a chance to rise higher. Another key to mental rewiring is curating what you feed your mind. Just like your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you consume. If you constantly fill it with negativity, toxic news, gossip, criticism, you will stay stuck in fear and doubt. Over the next 21 days, protect your mental diet. Read books that inspire you. Listen to podcasts that challenge you. Surround yourself with people who believe in growth. Replace mindless scrolling with learning and self-reflection. This process takes time and persistence. Some old beliefs will try to creep back in. That voice in your head might say, you will never change. This is just who you are. When that happens, do not argue with it. Simply refuse to engage. Redirect your focus to the new identity you are building. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker behind the thoughts, and you have the power to choose which ones to believe. Your internal dialogue is the constant stream of thoughts running through your mind every moment of every day. Most people are completely unconscious of this dialogue, never realizing that it is one of the most powerful forces shaping their reality. Your internal dialogue does not just reflect who you are, it creates who you are. Change your internal dialogue, and you change everything. The average person has between 60 and 80 thoughts per day, and research shows that 90% of these thoughts are the same thoughts they had yesterday. This means most people are unconsciously reinforcing the same identity, the same limitations, and the same reality day after day through their internal dialogue. They are essentially hypnotizing themselves into staying exactly the same. But here is what changes everything. You have the power to consciously direct your internal dialogue. You can choose what thoughts to engage with and what thoughts to dismiss. You can choose what stories to tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. You can choose to use your internal dialogue as a tool for transformation, rather than a prison of repetition. Your internal dialogue operates on multiple levels simultaneously. There is the surface level, which is the thoughts you are consciously aware of. There is the emotional level, which is the feelings and reactions that arise automatically. And there is the identity level, which is the deepest layer, where your core beliefs about yourself and reality reside. Mastering your internal dialogue means gaining conscious control at all three levels. The surface level is the easiest to change because it is the most conscious. This is where you practice replacing negative thoughts with positive ones, limiting thoughts with empowering ones, and fear-based thoughts with possibility-based ones. But this surface-level work is only effective if it is connected to the deeper levels. The emotional level requires understanding that thoughts and emotions are connected, but not the same thing. You cannot always control what emotions arise, but you can control how you respond to them and what thoughts you choose to think about them. When you feel fear, you can choose to think thoughts that acknowledge the fear without being controlled by it. When you feel doubt, you can choose to think thoughts that recognize the doubt as old programming rather than current truth. The identity level is where the real transformation happens. This is where you consciously choose to think thoughts that align with your new identity rather than your old one. Instead of thinking, "I am not good at this," you think, "I am learning and improving every day." Instead of thinking, "This always happens to me," you think, "I am creating different results now." Instead of thinking, "I cannot handle this," you think, "I have the resources to figure this out." The key to mastering your internal dialogue is developing what I call thought awareness. This is the ability to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. Most people are so identified with their thoughts that they do not realize they have a choice about which thoughts to engage with. They think every thought that arises must be true and important and worthy of attention. But thoughts are just mental events, like clouds passing through the sky. Some are useful and worth engaging with, others are just noise from old programming. Developing thought awareness means learning to observe your thoughts objectively and consciously choose which ones to amplify and which ones to let pass by. This requires creating space between you and your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the consciousness that observes your thoughts. When you realize this distinction, you gain tremendous power over your internal experience. You can have a thought of self-doubt and recognize it as just a thought, not a truth about yourself. You can have thought of limitation and understand it as old programming, not current reality. Conscious thought direction is the next level of internal dialogue mastery. This is where you actively choose thoughts that support your new identity and align with your transformation goals. Instead of just observing thoughts and letting them pass, you deliberately generate thoughts that reinforce who you are becoming. This is not about positive thinking or affirmations, although those can be useful tools. This is about strategic thinking that serves your transformation. When you are facing a challenge, instead of automatically thinking thoughts that make the challenge seem impossible, you consciously choose thoughts that help you see solutions and possibilities. When you are making decisions, instead of defaulting to thoughts rooted in old patterns, you consciously choose thoughts aligned with your new identity. Internal dialogue mastery also requires understanding the difference between helpful and unhelpful mental commentary. Helpful commentary serves your growth and transformation. It helps you learn from experiences, solve problems, and make better decisions. Unhelpful commentary is just noise that reinforces old patterns and keeps you stuck. Helpful commentary sounds like, what can I learn from this? How can I approach this differently? What would someone with my new identity do in this situation? Unhelpful commentary sounds like, I always mess this up. This is too hard for me. I knew this would not work. Learning to distinguish between these types of commentary and consciously choose the helpful kind is crucial for transformation. One of the most powerful techniques for transforming your internal dialogue is developing an internal coach rather than an internal critic. Most people have a harsh, judgmental voice in their head that constantly criticizes their efforts and points out their flaws. This internal critic feels like it is trying to help by preventing mistakes, but it actually sabotages transformation by reinforcing limiting beliefs. Your internal coach, on the other hand, supports your growth while maintaining realistic standards. It acknowledges challenges without making them seem impossible. It points out areas for improvement without attacking your worth as a person. It celebrates progress while encouraging continued effort. Developing this internal coach voice is essential for sustainable transformation. The internal coach asks different questions than the internal critic. Instead of, why did I do that? It asks, how can I do better next time? Instead of, I am terrible at this, it says, I am improving at this. Instead of, this proves I cannot change, it says, this is part of the learning process. These subtle shifts in internal language create massive shifts in your experience of transformation. Mastering your internal dialogue also means learning to use language that assumes your transformation rather than questioning it. Instead of saying, I am trying to be more confident, you say, I am becoming more confident every day. Instead of saying, I hope this works, you say, I am learning what works for me. Instead of saying, maybe I can change, you say, I am changing. This assumptive language programs your subconscious for success rather than uncertainty. The ultimate goal of internal dialogue mastery is reaching a state where your thoughts automatically support your highest potential rather than your lowest fears. When this happens, transformation becomes effortless because your mind is working with you instead of against you. Your internal dialogue becomes a powerful ally in creating the life you want instead of a constant source of resistance and limitation. This is true freedom of thought, the bedrock of personal liberty. Chapter 12. Designing your environment and circle for upliftment. Your environment is not neutral. Every single element of your physical and social environment is either supporting or transformation or undermining it. Most people try to change themselves while keeping everything around them exactly the same, and then wonder why change feels so difficult. But when you understand the power of environmental design, transformation becomes inevitable rather than effortful. Your brain is constantly taking cues from your environment about who you are and how you should behave. 4. If your environment reflects your old identity, your brain will automatically default to old patterns. 4. If your environment reflects your new identity, your brain will naturally shift toward new patterns. This is why changing your environment is one of the fastest ways to accelerate personal transformation. Think about how you feel when you walk into a luxury hotel versus how you feel when you walk into a rundown motel. The environment immediately shifts your internal state, your posture, your energy, and your expectations. You automatically adjust your behavior to match the environment you are in. The same principle applies to every environment you spend time in, from your bedroom to your workspace to your car. Environmental design starts with your physical space. Look around your living space right now. What does it communicate about the person who lives there? What identity does it reinforce? If someone walked into this space knowing nothing about you, what would they assume about your values, your aspirations, your level of success, Your attention to detail, your self-respect, your physical environment should reflect the identity you are becoming, not the identity you are leaving behind. If you are becoming someone who is successful and abundant, your space should reflect success and abundance. This does not mean you need to spend money you do not have on expensive items. It means you need to create a space that feels aligned with success, clean, organized, intentional, beautiful, within your current means. If you are becoming someone who is healthy and energetic, your environment should support health and energy. Remove junk food from your kitchen and replace it with healthy options. Create a space for exercise, even if it is just a yoga mat in your bedroom. Display items that remind you of your health goals and make healthy choices easier than unhealthy ones. The key is to make your environment do the work for you. Instead of relying on willpower to make good choices, design your environment so that good choices are automatic and bad choices require effort. If you want to read more, put books in visible places and put your phone in another room. If you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to eat healthier, prep healthy meals and make them the most convenient option. Your social environment is even more powerful than your physical environment. The 5 people you spend the most time with have a massive influence on your identity, your behavior, and your results. If you are surrounded by people who embody your old identity, it will be extremely difficult to sustain your new identity. If you are surrounded by people who embody your new identity, transformation becomes natural and inevitable. There is a powerful truth you need to understand. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If your closest friends are negative, lazy, and full of excuses, it is almost impossible for you to stay positive, driven, and focused. Even if you have big dreams, their energy will slowly pull you back down, like crabs in a bucket dragging down one trying to climb out. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who are disciplined, hungry for growth, and committed to excellence, they will naturally pull you higher. Their energy will challenge you. Their habits will inspire you. Their very presence will make you want to rise to their level. Over these next 21 days, you must take a hard look at your circle. Be brutally honest. Who in your life supports your vision, and who drains it? Who pushes you forward? Who holds you back? This is not about judging people or thinking you are better than anyone else. It is about protecting your future and your personal liberty. You have to make a conscious decision about who gets access to your time and energy. Start by identifying the toxic influences. These are the people who constantly complain, criticize, or spread negativity. They are the ones who shoot down your ideas before you have even started. They do not just fail to believe in you. They actively discourage you from believing in yourself. Sometimes these people are obvious. Other times they are subtle, hiding their toxicity behind sarcasm or just being realistic. Either way, their presence is poison to your growth. You do not necessarily have to cut them out completely, especially if they are family or close friends. But you do need to limit their influence, create boundaries, spend less time with them, stop sharing your biggest dreams with people who only want to tear them apart. Next, seek out growth-minded individuals. These are the people who make you feel like your goals are possible, even when they seem impossible. They challenge you to think bigger. They do not let you settle for less than your potential. When you talk to them, you leave feeling energized instead of drained. These are the people you want in your inner circle. If you do not currently have anyone like this in your life, do not worry. You can find them, attend events, join online communities, take classes, or even start following and learning from mentors virtually. In today's world, you do not have to be physically close to someone to be influenced by them. Podcasts, books, videos, these can all become part of your circle if you engage with them consistently. Another key element is accountability. It is one thing to set a goal for yourself. It is another to have someone holding you to it. Find a friend, a coach, or a mentor who will not let you off the hook when you feel like quitting. Accountability is not about punishment. It is about support. It is having someone who believes in you enough to call you out when you are not living up to your potential. Remember, this is not just about finding people who will cheer you on. It is about building relationships that demand growth. Sometimes the people who push you hardest are the ones who love you most. They will not always tell you what you want to hear, but they will tell you what you need to hear. And that honesty can be the difference between staying stuck and breaking through to a new level of success. Your digital environment also requires conscious design. The content you consume through social media, news, podcasts, videos, and articles is constantly programming your subconscious mind. 4. If you are consuming content that reinforces limitation, scarcity, and victimhood, that is what your subconscious will internalize. If you are consuming content that reinforces possibility, abundance, and empowerment, that is what becomes your new normal. Audit your digital consumption honestly. What are the dominant messages you are receiving through your phone and computer? What emotions are these messages generating? What beliefs are they reinforcing? What identity are they supporting? Then consciously curate your digital environment to support your transformation. Follow accounts that inspire your new identity. Listen to podcasts that reinforce your new mindset. Watch videos that teach skills relevant to who you are becoming. Even small environmental details matter more than you might think. The clothes you wear, the music you listen to, the scents in your space, the lighting in your rooms, all communicate messages to your subconscious about who you are. When you dress like the person you are becoming, you feel like that person. When you listen to music that energizes your new identity, you embody that energy. When your space smells and feels like success, you operate from success. Creating environmental triggers for your new identity is particularly powerful. These are specific objects, images, or arrangements that immediately remind you of who you are becoming. Maybe it is a vision board that represents your new life. Maybe it is a piece of jewelry that you only wear when you are operating from your new identity. Maybe it is a specific playlist that puts you in the state of your new identity. These triggers serve as instant identity activators throughout your day. The most successful people in the world understand that willpower is finite, but environment is infinite. They do not rely on motivation or discipline to maintain their identity. They design environments that make their desired identity the path of least resistance. When your environment is aligned with your transformation, being your new self becomes easier than being your old self. Finally, realize that you also have a role to play. Do not just seek out people who will elevate you. Become someone who elevates others. Be the friend who inspires, the mentor who challenges, the example others want to follow. When you embody excellence, you naturally attract others who are striving for the same. Over the next 21 days, make it your mission to upgrade your circle. Limit your exposure to toxic influences. Seek out growth-minded connections and create an environment where success is the norm, not the exception. Because when your circle is strong, you do not have to fight alone. You will be surrounded by people who lift you higher, even on the days when you feel like falling. Your destiny is not just shaped by your decisions, it is shaped by the people who walk beside you. Choose wisely, because the right circle will not just change your next 21 days, it will change the rest of your life, supporting your journey to personal liberty. Chapter 13. Overcoming Resistance and Self-Sabotage, Liberating Your Potential. Here is what no one tells you about transformation. Your old identity will fight back. It will fight back hard. and it will fight back smart. The resistance you experience is not a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It is a biological imperative. Your brain is literally wired to resist change, even positive change, because change represents uncertainty, and uncertainty represents potential danger. Understanding this resistance is crucial because most people interpret it as evidence that they are not meant to change or that transformation is not possible for them. They feel the discomfort of stepping outside their comfort zone and assume it means they are doing something wrong, but the opposite is true. Resistance is actually evidence that you are doing something right. It means you are pushing against real limitations and creating real change. Your subconscious mind has one primary job: to keep you safe and consistent with your current identity. It has been doing this job for years, maybe decades. It has created elaborate systems and patterns to maintain the status quo. When you suddenly start operating from a new identity, your subconscious mind interprets this as a threat to your survival. It does not care if the new identity is better. It only cares that it is different. This resistance manifests in predictable ways. You will experience fear that seems completely irrational. You will suddenly have thoughts of self-doubt that feel more intense than usual. You will find yourself procrastinating on actions that you know will move you forward. You will have urges to go back to old behaviors that feel comfortable and familiar. You might even experience physical symptoms like fatigue, restlessness, or anxiety. Most people, when they experience this resistance, give up. They assume that the discomfort means they are not ready for change, or that transformation is too difficult. But here is what changes everything. Resistance is temporary. It is most intense at the beginning of the transformation process and gradually decreases as your new identity becomes more familiar to your subconscious mind. Think of it like moving to a new country. At first, everything feels foreign and uncomfortable. The language is different. The customs are different. Even the food tastes strange. Your mind constantly compares everything to your home country and finds the new place lacking. But gradually, as you spend more time there, the new environment starts to feel normal. Eventually, it starts to feel like home. The same process happens with identity transformation. The key to overcoming resistance is to expect it, understand it, and work with it rather than against it. When you feel fear about stepping into your new identity, recognize it as your old identity trying to protect you. Thank it for its concern, but move forward anyway. When you have thoughts of self-doubt, understand that these are just old neural pathways firing automatically. Acknowledge the thoughts without engaging with them, and then consciously choose thoughts that align with your new identity. One of the most effective ways to handle resistance is through graduated exposure. Instead of trying to make massive changes all at once, you gradually increase the intensity of your new identity expression. If your new identity is confident and you are naturally shy, you do not start by giving a speech to 1,000 people. You start by making eye contact with one person, then speaking up once in a meeting, then initiating a conversation with a stranger. Each small step builds evidence that your new identity is safe and possible. Self-sabotage is resistance' most cunning weapon. This is when you unconsciously create situations that force you back into your old identity. You might accidentally oversleep on a day when you plan to implement your new morning routine. You might forget to follow through on a commitment that would reinforce your new identity. You might create drama or crisis that requires you to focus on problem solving instead of transformation. The insidious thing about self-sabotage is that it feels like it is happening to you rather than being created by you. You genuinely believe that external circumstances are preventing your transformation, never realizing that you are unconsciously orchestrating these circumstances to maintain your comfort zone. Recognizing self-sabotage requires brutal honesty with yourself. When you find yourself consistently falling back into old patterns, when you repeatedly encounter the same obstacles, when you keep having bad luck that interrupts your progress, ask yourself, how might I be unconsciously creating this situation? What would I gain by staying in my old identity? What am I afraid might happen if I actually transform? The answer to overcoming self-sabotage is increasing your conscious awareness. The more conscious you become of your patterns, the less power they have over you. Start noticing the subtle ways you talk yourself out of growth opportunities. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about why change is not possible right now. Observe the choices you make when no one is watching. The goal is not to judge yourself. It is to see yourself clearly. Another powerful strategy is accountability partnering. Share your transformation journey with someone you trust and ask them to call you out when they see you self-sabotaging. Sometimes external perspective can see patterns that we are blind to ourselves. Having someone who is committed to your growth can provide the external accountability that overrides internal resistance. Remember that resistance and self-sabotage are actually signs that your transformation is working. They are evidence that you are pushing against real limitations and creating real change. The key is to see them as temporary obstacles to overcome, rather than permanent barriers that cannot be crossed. Every time you move forward in spite of resistance, you weaken its power over you. Every time you recognize self-sabotage and choose differently, you strengthen your conscious control over your unconscious patterns. This is the ultimate act of self-liberation, breaking free from the internal forces that seek to deny you your freedom and full potential. Chapter 14. Turning pain and fear into fuel for freedom. Pain and fear are two of the most powerful forces in your life. Most people spend their entire existence running from them. They avoid discomfort, they hide from challenges, and they let fear dictate every decision they make. But here is the truth. Pain and fear are not here to destroy you. They are here to shape you, to strengthen you, and to guide you toward the person you are meant to become. The problem is never the pain or the fear itself. The problem is how you respond to it. Think about this for a moment. Every great transformation in history has been born out of struggle. The most successful people you admire did not rise because their journey was easy. They rose because they were willing to face pain and fear head-on, while everyone else ran away. Pain is not your enemy. It is feedback. It is a signal that something needs to change. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a compass pointing directly toward your growth. For the next 21 days, I want you to look at pain differently. Instead of avoiding it, lean into it. When something feels uncomfortable, that is your opportunity to grow. Growth never happens in your comfort zone. It happens when you stretch yourself. When you do the thing you do not feel ready to do. When you step into situations that challenge you. Pain is the price of progress. Every time you feel it, remind yourself, this is proof that I am evolving. Fear works the same way. Most people treat fear like a wall. They see it and immediately stop. They make excuses. They delay. They convince themselves they will act later when things feel safer. But fear is actually a signal that you are heading in the right direction. The things that scare you most are often the very things you need to face to reach the next level of your life. If a goal does not scare you a little, it is probably too small. Here is a powerful mindset shift. Instead of asking, how can I get rid of my fear? Start asking, how can I move forward with my fear? Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. Brave people do not feel less fear than others. They have simply trained themselves not to let fear make their decisions. History is replete with examples of individuals who faced monumental fears to achieve greatness or secure liberty. Consider the early American colonists facing the might of an empire, or civil rights leaders confronting systemic injustice. Their courage was not a lack of fear, but a determined will to act despite it, fueled by a vision of freedom. One practical way to do this is by breaking fear down into smaller steps. Imagine you have a dream that terrifies you, like starting a business, speaking in public, or leaving a job that drains you. Instead of focusing on the entire mountain, focus on the next single step. When you take small, consistent actions, fear begins to shrink because you are proving to yourself that you can handle it. Pain, on the other hand, can be turned into incredible motivation. Think back to the moments in your life that hurt the most, the disappointments, the failures, the heartbreaks. Instead of burying that pain, use it. Let it remind you why you refused to settle. Let it fuel your hunger for something better. Tell yourself, I will never feel that kind of pain again because I am building a life that rises above it. Many people try to numb their pain or pretend it is not there. But if you embrace it and channel it, pain becomes one of the most powerful driving forces you will ever experience. Here is a strategy you can use right now. Write down the 3 biggest fears that are holding you back. Be brutally honest. Then for each one, write a simple action you can take this week to face it, even in a small way. Maybe it is having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, applying for an opportunity you feel unqualified for, or simply admitting to yourself that you have been afraid. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you take back a piece of your power. At the same time, write down one painful memory or current struggle that has been weighing on you. Look at it clearly, then ask yourself, how can I use this to become stronger? Maybe your pain can drive you to get healthier, to work harder, to love deeper, or to finally create the life you deserve. The key is to stop letting pain be the thing that breaks you and start letting it be the thing that builds you. Over these 21 days, there will be moments when you are tested. You will face challenges that push you to your limits. Fear will whisper lies. Pain will tempt you to quit. In those moments, remember this truth: your greatest victories are on the other side of the things you are most afraid to face. 1. Do not before 4. You stop running and start rising. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start creating them. And one day you will look back and realize that the very things you thought would break you were the same things that built the unshakable, unstoppable version of you that you were always meant to become, a truly liberated individual. Chapter 15. The Compound Effect. Stacking wins for unstoppable liberty. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent changes because they cannot see the compound effect in action. They want dramatic transformation overnight, and when they do not see massive results immediately, they assume their efforts are not working. But transformation does not work like a light switch. It works like compound interest. Small, consistent identity shifts accumulated over time create exponential change. Think about how compound interest works with money. If you invest $100 and it grows at 10% per year, after 1 year you have $110. The growth seems minimal. After 5 years, you have $161. Still not impressive. But after 20 years, you have $673. After 30 years, you have $1,745. The same principle applies to identity transformation. Small daily shifts compound into massive life changes. Every time you choose to act from your new identity instead of your old one, you are making a deposit in your transformation account. Every time you catch yourself thinking from limitation and consciously shift to abundance, you are earning interest on your previous deposits. Every time you handle a challenge from your new identity instead of your old one, you are accelerating the compound effect. The beautiful thing about this compound effect is that it is not just additive, it is multiplicative. As your new identity becomes stronger, It makes future identity shifts easier. As you build evidence that you are capable of change, your confidence in your ability to change increases. As you experience success from operating from your new identity, you become more motivated to continue the process. This is why days 1 to 7 of your transformation will feel the most difficult. You are fighting against years or decades of old programming with relatively little evidence that change is possible. But days 15 to 21 will feel dramatically different. By then, you will have accumulated enough evidence of your new identity that it starts to feel natural, automatic. The compound effect will be working in your favor instead of against you. But here is what most people miss. The compound effect works in both directions. Just as small positive changes compound into massive positive results, small negative choices compound into stagnation and regression. Every time you choose your old identity over your new one, you are making a withdrawal from your transformation account. Every time you indulge in old thought patterns, you are strengthening neural pathways that work against your goals. This is why consistency is more important than intensity. It is better to make small identity shifts every day than to make massive changes sporadically. Your brain responds to patterns and repetition. When you are consistent with your new identity, even in small ways, your subconscious mind starts to accept it as your new normal. When you are inconsistent, your subconscious mind treats your new identity as a temporary experiment that will eventually end. The compound effect also applies to your environment and relationships. As you consistently show up as your new identity, the people around you start responding to you differently. They begin to see you as the person you are becoming rather than the person you used to be. This external reflection reinforces your internal transformation and accelerates the compound effect. Opportunities also compound. As you operate from your new identity, you start attracting different opportunities than you did before. You notice possibilities that were always there, but invisible to your old identity. You take actions that create new opportunities. You build relationships with people who support your new identity. Each opportunity builds on the previous ones, creating a snowball effect of positive change. Skills and capabilities compound as well. As you practice being your new identity, you develop new skills and abilities that support that identity. If you are becoming a confident leader, you develop communication skills, decision-making skills, and emotional intelligence. All skills make it easier to embody your new identity, which gives you more opportunities to practice and improve those skills. The loop feeds itself. Energy also compounds. Operating from your new identity, especially when it is aligned with your authentic self, generates energy rather than depleting it. You will find that you have more enthusiasm, more motivation, and more resilience than you did when you were trying to maintain an identity that did not serve you. This increased energy allows you to take more action, which accelerates your transformation even further. The mistake most people make is underestimating the power of small wins. They think, if I cannot change everything at once, why bother? So, they either try to do too much and burn out, or they do nothing at all. But here is the truth. It is not the huge dramatic changes that transform you. It is the little simple actions you take every single day. Drinking more water, waking up on time, reading for 10 minutes instead of scrolling on your phone, speaking up in one meeting instead of staying silent. These might seem small, but they are the building blocks of the person you are becoming. Small wins are powerful because they build trust with yourself. Think about it. Every time you set a goal and do not follow through, you chip away at your own confidence. You start believing that your word does not mean much. But when you set a small, achievable goal and actually complete it, you send yourself a different message. I can count on me. That inner trust is the foundation of self-discipline. And once you have it, you can tackle bigger challenges without hesitation. So how do you start stacking small wins? First, identify 1 or 2 areas of your life that you want to see change. Do not overwhelm yourself by trying to fix everything at once. Maybe you want to get healthier, improve your focus, or grow your income. Pick a single action you can take daily that will move you closer to that goal. For example, if it is health, commit to drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning. If it is focus, commit to 10 minutes of reading or journaling instead of checking your phone. The key is consistency, not intensity. It is better to do a small action every day than a huge action once in a while. Imagine someone who goes to the gym for 2 hours once a month versus someone who works out for 20 minutes every day. Who do you think will see more progress? It is the same with every area of life. The compound effect of small wins will always beat occasional bursts of effort. Another benefit of small wins is momentum. When you experience even a tiny success, it creates a positive feedback loop. You feel good about yourself, which motivates you to keep going. That motivation leads to another action, which creates another win, and the cycle continues. Before you know it, you are doing things you once thought were impossible because you built confidence step by step. Of course, there will be days when you do not feel like showing up. This is normal. The old version of you will try to pull you back into comfort and laziness. On those days, remind yourself that it is not about perfection. It is about progress. Even if you cannot do everything, do something. Protect your streak of small wins, even if it is the tiniest action. That one choice can keep your momentum alive. Here is a simple exercise. At the end of each day, write down 3 wins, no matter how small. Maybe you made your bed, drank water instead of soda, or finished a difficult task at work. This practice trains your brain to focus on progress instead of perfection. It also helps you see that you are moving forward, even when the changes feel slow. The key to maximizing the compound effect is to focus on identity-based metrics rather than outcome-based metrics. Instead of measuring how much money you have made or how many people you have impressed, measure how consistently you are operating from your new identity. Instead of tracking external results, track internal shifts. The external results will follow naturally. As the compound effect takes hold, patience is crucial during this process. The compound effect is invisible in the early stages and obvious in the later stages. You have to trust the process even when you cannot see the results yet. You have to keep making deposits in your transformation account, even when the balance seems to be growing slowly. Breakthrough moment when the compound effect becomes undeniable always seems to come suddenly, even though it has been building gradually all along. Over the next 21 days, think of yourself as a builder. Every small win is like laying a brick in the foundation of your future. One brick does not look like much, but keep laying them, and soon you will have built a structure so strong it cannot be knocked down. There will come a moment when people around you start to notice. They will say something's different about you. They will not see the small daily actions you have been taking, but they will see the results, and you will know exactly how you got there. Not through luck, not through shortcuts, but through relentless consistency. Stack small wins every single day. Celebrate them, protect them, and let them build unstoppable momentum. Because when you master the art of consistent progress, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stand in your way to claiming your ultimate liberty. Chapter 16. Thinking and Executing. Like the top 1%, the vanguard of liberty, most people want success, but very few achieve it. It is not because they are not capable. It is because they do not think like the top 1%, and they do not act like them either. The truth is, the gap between ordinary and extraordinary is not talent or intelligence. It is mindset and execution. If you want to become unrecognizable in 21 days, you must begin to think and execute like the top performers in the world. First thing you need to understand is this: the top 1% see the world differently. Where most people see problems, they see opportunities. Where others see obstacles, they see puzzles to be solved. They do not waste energy complaining about what they cannot control. Instead, they focus relentlessly on what they can control. This mental shift alone sets them apart. While the majority are busy blaming circumstances, the top 1% are taking action and creating results. You must adopt this same way of thinking. The next time you face a challenge, catch yourself before you slip into victim mode. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I use this to grow? What is my next move?" That single question puts you back in a position of power. Successful people do not sit around waiting for perfect conditions. They make progress with whatever resources they have, even when the situation is not ideal. Another key difference is decisiveness. The top 1% make decisions quickly and with confidence. Most people waste endless time overthinking, second-guessing, and waiting for certainty. But here is the thing: certainty does not come before you act. It comes after. Successful people understand that hesitation is the enemy of progress. They would rather make a decision, learn from the results, and adjust along the way than sit still doing nothing. Remember this: progress beats perfection every single time. General George S. Patton once famously said, "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week." This philosophy of rapid, decisive action is a hallmark of the top performers. But thinking like the top 1% is not enough. You must also execute like them. And that means being obsessed with follow-through. Average people set goals. The top 1% build systems. A goal might inspire you for a while, but a system keeps you consistent. For example, instead of saying, "I want to lose weight," they create a system of daily habits: meal prep, scheduled workouts, tracking their progress. Instead of saying, "I want to earn more money," they design a process to generate income, step by step. Systems make success predictable instead of random. Another element of execution is speed. The top 1% move fast. They understand that ideas mean nothing without action. When they get an idea, they do not just think about it, they test it. They take that first step immediately, even if it is small. Why? Because action creates clarity. While everyone else is stuck planning and talking, they are already learning, adjusting, and gaining momentum. Over time, this speed compounds, creating a massive gap between them and everyone else. To execute at this level, you must also eliminate distractions. The top performers do not waste time on things that do not matter. They guard their focus like treasure. They say no more than they say yes. They prioritize relentlessly. They understand that every hour spent on something trivial is an hour stolen from their vision. If you want to rise to the top 1%, you must become ruthless about how you spend your time and energy. And here is something many people overlook: the top 1% are relentless learners. They do not assume they know everything. They seek out mentors, read constantly, and surround themselves with people who challenge them to grow. Their ego does not get in the way of their evolution. While others are comfortable being good enough, they are always asking, "How can I be better?" That humility mixed with hunger is a powerful combination. Start practicing this mindset today. When you wake up, ask yourself, what would the top 1% version of me do today? How would they approach their morning, their work, their conversations? Then act as if you are already that person. Over time, those actions will solidify into habits, and those habits will transform your identity. The truth is, there is nothing magical about the top 1%. They simply live by principles most people ignore. They take full responsibility. They move quickly. They think big, but execute with precision. They block out noise and focus on what matters. And they never stop learning. Over the next 21 days, commit to thinking and executing like the top performers in the world. If you do, you will notice a shift. Decisions will feel clearer. Progress will accelerate. Opportunities will appear because you are finally moving at higher frequency. And one day you will look around and realize you've joined that rare group of people who do not just talk about their dreams, they live them. This is not about being better than others. It is about being the best version of yourself. When you think and execute like the top 1%, you are not just chasing success. You are building a life of impact, fulfillment, and freedom, a life that inspires others to rise as well. That is the real reward of playing at the highest level, leading the vanguard of personal liberty. Chapter 17. Advanced Integration and Sustained Growth, Living the Liberty Life. By this point in your transformation, you have experienced what it feels like to operate from your new identity. You have had moments where it felt natural, effortless, and authentic. You have also had moments where it felt forced, awkward, and unfamiliar. This is completely normal and actually indicates that real integration is taking place. Now we need to accelerate that integration process and make your new identity so deeply embedded that it becomes your automatic default. Integration is different from practice. Practice is conscious effort to embody your new identity. Integration is when that identity becomes unconscious and automatic. It is the difference between thinking about walking and just walking. When a new identity is fully integrated, you do not have to remember to be that person. You just are that person. The challenge with integration is that it requires going beyond surface-level changes and rewiring your identity at the deepest neurological level. This means addressing not just how you think and act, but how you fundamentally perceive reality itself. Your new identity needs to become so natural that it influences your automatic responses, your split-second decisions, and your unconscious behaviors. Advanced visualization is one of the most powerful integration techniques. This goes far beyond basic mental imagery. You are going to create detailed, multisensory experiences of living from your new identity in various scenarios. The key is specificity and emotional intensity. Your brain needs to experience these visualizations as real memories, not fantasies. Create visualization scenarios for challenging situations you are likely to encounter. If your new identity is confident, visualize yourself handling rejection, criticism, or failure with confidence. Feel the sensations in your body. Hear the tone of your voice. See the expressions on other people's faces. Experience the emotions of remaining centered and confident, even under pressure. The more detailed and realistic these visualizations are, the more they program your brain for automatic confident responses. Physical embodiment exercise. Accelerate integration by connecting your new identity to your nervous system and muscle memory. Your identity is not just in your mind, it is in your entire body. How you breathe, how you hold your shoulders, how you walk, how you gesture, all communicate identity information to your subconscious mind. Spend time each day physically embodying your new identity. If you are becoming someone powerful, practice powerful posture and movement. If you are becoming someone peaceful, practice peaceful breathing and gestures. If you are becoming someone confident, practice confident eye contact and voice projection. Your body teaches your mind just as much as your mind teaches your body. Identity stress testing is crucial for deep integration. This involves deliberately putting yourself in situations that challenge your new identity and practicing maintaining it under pressure. Just like muscles grow stronger under resistance, identities become more solid when they are tested and proven reliable. Start with low-stakes challenges and gradually increase the difficulty. For reforth, ye forth, 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 ye forth. If your new identity is calm under pressure, practice staying calm during small stresses before facing major crises. Spectful test builds evidence that your new identity is real and sustainable. Micro-identity reinforcement involves finding tiny moments throughout each day to reinforce your new identity. These are split-second choices that seem insignificant but accumulate into massive transformation. How you respond when someone cuts in line, how you handle a minor disappointment, how you react when technology does not work properly. These micro moments are where true integration happens. The goal is to catch yourself in these moments and consciously choose to respond from your new identity instead of your old one. At first, you will catch yourself after the fact. Eventually, you will catch yourself during the moment. Finally, you will automatically respond from your new identity without conscious effort. This progression indicates successful integration. Advanced integration also requires what I call identity archaeology. This is the process of identifying and transforming the deepest, most unconscious patterns that maintain your old identity. These are often patterns you developed in childhood or during traumatic experiences that continue to influence your behavior decades later. These deep patterns often show up as automatic thoughts that arise in specific situations. Thoughts like, "I am not smart enough for this," or "people like me do not get opportunities like this," or "I always mess things up when it matters." These thoughts feel true because they have been repeated so many times, but they are actually just old programming that can be changed. When you notice these automatic thoughts, do not try to fight them or suppress them. Instead, acknowledge them as old programming and consciously choose a thought that aligns with your new identity. Over time, these new thoughts will become just as automatic as the old ones were. Identity integration also requires learning to navigate the transition periods between your old and new identity. There will be moments when you feel like you are in between identities, not fully your old self, but not yet completely your new self. These transition periods can feel uncomfortable and confusing, but they are actually signs that deep change is occurring. During these periods, trust the process and lean into your new identity, even when it does not feel completely natural yet. Authenticity is not about only doing what feels comfortable. It is about aligning with who you are truly meant to be. Sometimes being authentic requires growing beyond who you have been. The 21-day transformation period is just the beginning, not the end. What you have accomplished in these 3 weeks is proof of concept that intentional change is possible and that you have the power to direct your own development. But maintaining and continuing this transformation for the long term requires a different set of strategies and mindsets than creating initial change. Most people make the mistake of thinking that once they have transformed, they can go back to autopilot and their new identity will maintain itself. But transformation is not a destination. It is a way of life. All new identity requires ongoing attention, reinforcement, and evolution, Without conscious maintenance, even the most dramatic transformations can gradually fade back toward old patterns. Long-term sustainability starts with understanding that your transformation is not complete after 21 days. It is established. You have created new neural pathways, new habits, and new ways of thinking. But these new patterns are still relatively weak compared to the old patterns that were developed over years or decades. Continued reinforcement is essential for making your new identity truly permanent. The key to sustainability is shifting from intensive transformation mode to maintenance mode. During the 21-day period, you were focused on creating dramatic change in the short time. Now, you need to focus on integrating those changes so deeply that they become effortless and automatic. This requires a less intensive but more consistent approach. Daily identity reinforcement becomes a permanent part of your routine. But it does not need to be as time-intensive as during the initial transformation period. 5 minutes of morning visualization, brief identity check-ins throughout the day, and evening reflection can maintain the momentum you have built. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Continued growth requires setting new transformation goals. Once your current identity feels natural and automatic, transformation is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. Once you have mastered confidence, you might focus on developing leadership. Once you have developed leadership, you might focus on deepening wisdom. Once you have developed wisdom, you might focus on expanding compassion. There is always another level of growth available. This progressive approach to transformation prevents stagnation and keeps you moving forward rather than backward. Your brain is either growing or dying, expanding or contracting. By continuously setting new growth goals, you maintain the neuroplasticity and momentum that make transformation possible. Environmental evolution is crucial for long-term sustainability. As you continue to grow, your environment needs to grow with you. The environment that supported your initial transformation may become limiting as you reach higher levels of development. Regularly audit and upgrade your physical environment, social environment, and digital environment to match your expanding identity. This might mean joining new communities as you outgrow old ones. It might mean upgrading your living or working space as your success increases. It might mean finding new mentors who can guide you to levels you have not reached yet. Your environment should always be pulling you forward rather than holding you back. Building a transformation support system becomes increasingly important for long-term growth. This includes mentors who are where you want to be, peers who are growing at a similar pace, and people you are mentoring who benefit from your growth. This support system provides accountability, inspiration, and perspective that keeps you moving forward. Regular transformation reviews are essential for maintaining momentum and direction. Monthly and quarterly reviews allow you to assess your progress, identify areas that need attention, and set new goals for continued growth. These reviews prevent drift and ensure that you are always moving toward your highest potential rather than just maintaining the status quo. Developing transformation skills as a permanent part of your identity is crucial for long-term success. The skills you have learned during this 21-day process: identity design, resistance management, environmental optimization, progress tracking, SOX, just tools for this specific transformation. They are life skills that you can apply to any area you want to change or improve. Mastering these skills means you never have to feel stuck again. When you encounter new challenges or want to develop new capabilities, you have a proven process for creating change. You become someone who transforms rather than someone who hopes for transformation. This is perhaps the most valuable outcome of the entire process. Sharing your transformation with others becomes both a way to reinforce your own changes and a way to contribute to the world. teaching others what you have learned, mentoring people who are where you used to be, and modeling transformation for your community reinforces your own identity while helping others discover their potential. This sharing does not have to be formal or professional. It can be as simple as being an example of what is possible, supporting friends who want to grow, or sharing your story when appropriate. The act of helping others strengthens your own transformation and creates a positive cycle of growth and contribution. Embracing identity evolution is perhaps the most important mindset for long-term sustainability. Your identity today is not your final identity. The person you become after this 21-day transformation is not the person you are meant to be forever. Transformation is an ongoing process of becoming more authentic, more capable, and more aligned with your highest potential. This means being willing to continue challenging yourself, questioning your assumptions, and growing beyond your current comfort zone. It means staying curious about what is possible, rather than becoming attached to any particular version of yourself. It means viewing transformation not as fixing something broken, but as continuously expanding into more of who you are capable of being. The final aspect of advanced integration is developing identity flexibility. This means being able to access different aspects of your new identity, depending on what is needed in each situation. Truly integrated identity is not rigid or one-dimensional. It is dynamic and adaptive while maintaining core consistency. For example, if your new identity is confident, that confidence might express itself differently in a boardroom than it does in a social setting, than it does in an intimate relationship. The core confidence remains the same, but its expression adapts to the context. This flexibility prevents your new identity from feeling like a costume you put on, and instead makes it feel like a natural part of who you are. The ultimate goal of sustainable transformation is reaching a state where growth becomes natural and automatic rather than forced and effortful. When you have truly integrated the transformation lifestyle, you do not have to push yourself to grow. You are naturally drawn toward opportunities for expansion. Change becomes exciting rather than threatening. Challenges become opportunities rather than obstacles, and transformation becomes a source of joy rather than stress. This is when transformation stops being something you do and becomes who you are. You become a person who naturally evolves, adapts, and expands. You become someone who does not just react to life, but consciously creates their experience. You become the architect of your own becoming, continuously designing and redesigning yourself to match your expanding vision of what is possible, forever living the liberty life. Chapter 18. Staying ruthlessly hungry, remaining humbly free. One of the most dangerous traps on the journey of transformation is comfort. Success had a way of softening people. You work hard, you push through challenges, you start to see results, and then, without even realizing it, you begin to relax. You let your guard down. You start coasting instead of climbing. Slowly, the hunger that drove you begins to fade. This is how people slip back into their old patterns. They stop growing because they think they have made it. If you want to create a life that is unrecognizable 21 days from now, and even more so a year from now, you must develop a mindset of relentless hunger. Hunger is what keeps you striving for the next level, no matter how much progress you have already made. It is that inner fire that says, I can do better. I will do better. The moment you lose that hunger, you start to decline. Look at anyone who has achieved extraordinary success over a long period of time. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, all have one thing in common. They never stop chasing growth. Even when they are at the top of their game, they act like they are still the underdog. They do not take their position for granted. They wake up each day with something to prove, not to others, but to themselves. Consider the timeless wisdom of martial arts. A true master never stops training, always seeking to refine their craft, always humble before the vastness of what is still to be learned. Here is the challenge. Staying hungry does not mean being reckless. Hunger without balance can turn into ego. When you let success go to your head, you become blind to your weaknesses. You stop listening, you stop learning, and you start thinking you are invincible. That is when downfall begins. History is full of stories of people who reached great heights only to lose it all because they let arrogance take over. The key is to balance hunger with humility. Hunger drives you to push forward, but humility keeps you grounded. It reminds you that there is always more to learn, that there is always someone out there working harder, and that success is never guaranteed. Humility allows you to stay open to feedback and to grow without losing touch with who you truly are. It protects your hard-won liberty from the hubris that can lead to its loss. Practically speaking, here is how you can stay ruthlessly hungry while remaining humble. First, always set new challenges for yourself. When you achieve a goal, celebrate briefly, but then move on to the next target. Do not let one victory become a resting place. Let it be a launching pad. Write down what is next, even before you have finished what you are currently working on. This keeps your momentum alive and your mind focused on growth. Second, surround yourself with people who inspire you and keep you honest. A strong circle will not let you settle. They will celebrate your wins, but they will also call you out when you are slipping. The right people will challenge you to stay sharp while reminding you to stay humble. If everyone around you constantly tells you how amazing you are in danger. Seek out mentors and peers who are ahead of you, who will remind you that there is always another level to reach. Third, stay connected to your why. Hunger fades when you forget why you started in the first place. Take time to reflect on your deeper purpose, the reason you are pushing so hard for this transformation. Maybe it is to provide for your family, to create freedom, to become a role model, or to fulfill your potential. Whatever it is, keep that purpose front and center. On the days when you feel tired or tempted to coast, your why will reignite your fire. Finally, practice gratitude. This might sound simple, but it is powerful. Gratitude is the antidote to ego. When you regularly take time to appreciate what you have, you stay humble. You realize that even though you have worked hard, much of your success is built on the support, opportunities, and lessons you have received along the way. Gratitude keeps your heart open, while hunger drives your ambition. Over these next 21 days, you will make progress. You will experience wins. And when you do, I want you to remember this. The journey is not over. Every step forward is just the beginning of what is possible. Do not let early success fool you into thinking the work is done. Stay hungry. Wake up each day with the mindset of a beginner, ready to learn, ready to grow, ready to fight for your future. But at the same time, stay humble. Remember where you came from. Remember the struggles that shaped you. Remember that no matter how far you go, there is always another level to reach. When you combine relentless hunger with deep humility, you become unstoppable. You rise without arrogance. You grow without losing yourself. And that balance, that rare combination, will make you a force that not only achieves incredible success, but also inspires everyone around you to rise higher too in their own pursuit of liberty. Chapter 19. Navigating Relationships, Shared Liberty, Shared Growth. One of the most challenging aspects of personal transformation is how it affects your relationships with other people. As you change, you are going to discover that not everyone in your life is going to support or understand your transformation. Some people will be threatened by your growth. Others will try to pull you back into old patterns. Some will question your authenticity or accuse you of changing too much. Understanding how to navigate these relational challenges is crucial for maintaining your transformation while preserving important relationships. The first thing to understand is that when you transform, you are not just changing yourself. You are changing the entire dynamic of every relationship you are in. Relationships are systems, and systems resist change. If you, being the insecure friend, the struggling sibling, or the people-pleasing employee, other people have organized their identity and behavior around those roles. When you suddenly start operating from confidence, success, or assertiveness, it disrupts the entire system. This disruption is not malicious, it is unconscious. The people in your life have developed ways of relating to you based on who you have been. They have learned how to communicate with you, how to support you, how to get their needs met through the relationship. When you change, they have to learn new ways of relating. And change is uncomfortable for everyone, not just you. Some people will adapt to your transformation and even be inspired by it. These are the relationships that will grow stronger and deeper through your change. But others will resist your transformation and try to pull you back into familiar patterns. They might criticize your new behaviors, question your motivations, or create situations that trigger your old identity. This is not necessarily because they do not want you to be happy. It is because your transformation makes them uncomfortable about their own lack of growth. Understanding this dynamic allows you to respond with compassion rather than defensiveness. When people resist your changes, they are not attacking you personally. They are trying to restore the familiar system that gave them comfort and predictability. Your job is not to convince them that your transformation is good. It is to maintain your new identity, regardless of their reaction. Setting boundaries becomes crucial during transformation. You may need to limit time with people who consistently trigger your old identity or try to sabotage your growth. This does not mean cutting people out of your life permanently, but it does mean protecting your transformation during its most vulnerable stages. Once your new identity is fully integrated, you will be better able to maintain it even around challenging people. This is an exercise of self-respect and upholding your personal liberty in the face of external pressure. Some relationships will naturally fade during your transformation, and this is often a healthy part of the process. Relationships that were based on shared limitations, complaints, or dysfunction may no longer feel fulfilling when you are operating from a higher level. It is normal to outgrow certain friendships or find that you have less in common with people who are not growing at the same pace. This can feel sad or guilty, especially if these relationships were important to you in the past. But remember that people come into our lives for different reasons and different seasons. Some relationships are meant to support you through difficult times. Others are meant to celebrate your successes, and others are meant to challenge you to grow. Thus, every relationship is meant to last forever. And ending relationships that no longer serve you is not selfish. It is necessary for continued growth and your own pursuit of liberty. On the flip side, transformation often attracts new relationships that align with your new identity. As you embody confidence, success, or whatever qualities you are developing, you will naturally attract people who resonate with those qualities. You will find yourself in conversations that inspire you rather than drain you. You will build connections based on shared growth rather than shared problems. These new relationships can be incredibly supportive for maintaining your transformation. Surrounding yourself with people who see you as the person you are becoming, rather than the person you used to be, reinforces your new identity and makes it easier to sustain. This is why seeking out new communities, joining new groups, or finding new mentors is often an important part of the transformation process. Communicating about your transformation requires delicacy and wisdom. Not everyone needs to know that you are deliberately transforming yourself. In fact, talking too much about your changes can sometimes create resistance or make people feel like you are judging their lack of change. Sometimes it is better to simply embody your new identity and let people adjust to the new you naturally. When you do need to address your changes directly, focus on your own experience rather than making comparisons or judgments. Instead of saying, "I am not going to be a pushover anymore," you might say, "I am learning to communicate my needs more clearly." Instead of saying, "I am done with negative people," you might say, "I am focusing on more positive interactions." This approach is less likely to trigger defensiveness in others. It is also important to give people time to adjust to your changes. Just as your transformation did not happen overnight, other people's adjustment to your transformation will not happen immediately either. Be patient with people who are struggling to understand or accept your changes, while still maintaining your boundaries and staying true to your new identity. Family relationships can be particularly challenging during transformation because family systems are often the most resistant to change. Family members may have the strongest investment in keeping you in familiar roles. They may use guilt, manipulation, or emotional triggers to pull you back into old patterns. Navigating family transformation requires extra care and often professional support. Romantic relationships during transformation can either be incredibly strengthening or incredibly challenging. If your partner supports your growth and is willing to grow alongside you, your relationship can reach new levels of intimacy and fulfillment. But if your partner feels threatened by your changes or tries to sabotage your growth, it can create serious relationship problems that may require counseling or difficult decisions. The key principle for navigating all relationships during transformation is staying true to your authentic self while remaining compassionate toward others' reactions. You cannot control how people respond to your changes, but you can control how you respond to their responses. Maintain your integrity, set appropriate boundaries, communicate with kindness when possible, and trust that the relationships meant to support your highest self will strengthen, while those that do not will naturally fade. Remember that your transformation gives other people permission to transform as well. By courageously becoming who you are meant to be, you are modeling what is possible for everyone around you. Even people who initially resist your changes may eventually be inspired by your example to examine their own lives and consider their own growth. Your transformation is not just a gift to yourself. It is a gift to everyone whose life you touch, fostering a broader culture of growth and shared liberty. Chapter 20. The Transformed You, an Unrecognizable Freedom. Imagine standing in front of a mirror 21 days from now and barely recognizing a person looking back at you. Not because of how you look on the outside, though that may have changed too, but because of who you have become on the inside. The way you think, the way you move through the world, the way you carry yourself, that is the moment this entire journey has been leading you toward. Transformation does not happen in one big dramatic moment. It happens quietly, day by day, choice by choice. Most people never notice their own progress because they are too busy focusing on how far they still have to go. But then one day, something shifts. You handle a challenge differently. You make a decision you would have avoided before. You follow through on a promise you would have broken in the past. And that is when it hits you. I am not the same person anymore. Over the past 19 chapters, you have been building that new version of yourself. You have burned down the old identity that kept you trapped. You have created a crystal clear vision for your future. You have taken extreme ownership, built unshakable discipline, and fortified your focus. You have learned to turn fear into fuel, to stack small wins, to protect your time, and to surround yourself with people who lift you higher. Step by step, you have been laying the foundation for a life that most people only dream about. Now, as you reach this final stage of the 21-day blueprint, your job is simple, but not easy. Fully step into the identity you have been building. This means no more seeing yourself as someone who is trying to change. You are the change. You are a person who wakes up early, who takes action, who stays focused, who refuses to quit. It is no longer about doing these things just because they are part of a challenge. It is about becoming the kind of person who lives this way, naturally, every single day. Think of it like wearing a new suit. At first, it feels unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable. You are aware of every detail, every move you make, but over time, as you wear it consistently, it begins to feel like a second skin. That is what identity shift feels like. At first, these habits and mindsets will require effort, but eventually, they will become who you are. You will not have to force yourself to take action. It will simply be part of your nature. One of the most important things to remember at this stage is that transformation is a journey, not a destination. Even when you have become unrecognizable from who you were 3 weeks ago, there will always be another level to reach. This is not the end of your growth. It is the launch pad for everything that comes next. That is why humility, as we discussed in the last chapter, is so vital. It keeps you open, hungry, and ready for the challenges ahead. As you step fully into this new identity, take a moment to reflect on the old you, not with shame, but with gratitude. That version of you was doing the best they could with the tools they had. They carried you this far, but now it is time to release them completely. Like shedding an old skin, you must let go of who you were, so you can fully embrace who you are becoming. Here is a powerful practice to mark this moment. Write a letter to yourself, dated 21 days ago. In it, thank the old version of you for their efforts. Then declare with certainty who you are now. Describe your new identity in vivid detail. Your habits, your mindset, your energy. Speak it into existence. This is not just an exercise. It is a declaration that there is no going back. From this day forward, you are no longer the person who hesitates, who doubts, who hides from their potential. You are a builder, a creator, a warrior of your own destiny, dedicated to personal liberty. When challenges come, and they will, you will face them with strength and clarity. When fear shows up, you will use it as fuel. When others try to drag you back into the past, you will rise above with grace and determination. The moment you fully step into this identity is the moment your external world begins to shift. Opportunities will appear, relationships will evolve, your results will accelerate, because the world always reflects who you believe yourself to be. Today, you cross a line. There is no halfway commitment, no trying or hoping. You either claim this new version of yourself, or you do not. But if you do, fully embrace the unrecognizable version of you that has been emerging over these 21 days, you will unlock a future beyond anything you have imagined. Look in that mirror one more time. See the strength in your eyes. See the fire in your spirit. This is you, the real you, and from this moment on, there is no turning back. As we reach the end of this 21-day journey, it is important to recognize that the person reading these words is fundamentally different from the person who started this process 3 weeks ago. You may not feel dramatically different in every moment, but transformation often happens so naturally that we do not notice the magnitude of change until we look back from where we have come. The neural pathways in your brain have been rewired. The automatic thoughts that arise in your mind have shifted. The decisions you make naturally align more closely with your highest potential. The way you carry yourself, speak to yourself, and see yourself has evolved. These changes may feel subtle because they have been integrated gradually, but their impact on your life will be profound and lasting. Take a moment to honestly assess how you have changed for these 21 days. How do you handle challenges differently now? What thoughts come automatically that did not before? How has your confidence, your energy, your sense of possibility shifted? What actions are you taking now that you would not have taken 3 weeks ago? What old patterns have you broken? What new patterns have you established? This assessment is not about perfection or dramatic overnight change. It is about recognizing the real, measurable shifts that have occurred in your identity and your life. These shifts are the foundation for all future growth, and the evidence that continued transformation is not only possible, but inevitable when you apply these principles consistently. Understanding the ripple effects of your transformation is crucial as you move forward. Your personal changes do not just affect you, they affect everyone whose life you touch. Your increased confidence influences how others see their own potential. Your improved decision-making inspires others to examine their own choices. Your elevated energy and enthusiasm become contagious in your relationships and communities. You have become a source of possibility for others, often without even realizing it. People notice when someone is operating from a higher level, even if they cannot articulate what is different. Your transformation gives others permission to consider their own growth and shows them that change is possible. This is one of the most meaningful aspects of personal development, where it naturally extends beyond the individual to benefit the collective. The skills you have developed during this process are now permanent parts of your identity. You know how to consciously design and embody a new identity. You know how to overcome resistance and maintain momentum. You know how to create environments that support your growth. You know how to track progress and celebrate wins. You know how to navigate relationships during change. These are not just techniques you used for this transformation. They are life skills that will serve you in every future challenge and opportunity. This means you are no longer dependent on external circumstances, other people's approval, or lucky breaks to create the life you want. You have the internal tools and understanding to continuously design and redesign your experience. You have moved from being at the effect of your life to being at the cause of your life. This shift in locus of control is perhaps the most empowering result of the entire transformation process. As you continue beyond these 21 days, it is important to maintain what I call the transformation mindset. This is the understanding that you are not a fixed entity, but a continuously evolving being with unlimited potential for growth and change. This mindset keeps you open to new possibilities, resilient in the face of challenges, and excited about what you might become next. The transformation mindset also includes the understanding that setbacks and challenges are not evidence that you failed or that change is impossible. They are simply part of the human experience and opportunities to apply your transformation skills. Every challenge becomes a chance to strengthen your new identity and prove to yourself that you can handle whatever life presents. Looking toward the future, consider what your next level of transformation might involve. What aspects of your life or identity are you ready to evolve next? What new challenges are you ready to take on? What expanded version of yourself are you excited to become? The process you have learned can be applied to any area of life that needs improvement or growth. Maybe your next transformation focuses on your professional life, your relationships, your health, your creativity, or your contribution to the world. Maybe it involves developing completely new skills, exploring new interests, or taking on bigger challenges. The specific focus is less important than maintaining the momentum and continuing to grow. Consider also how you might share what you have learned with others. Your transformation story has power not just for you, but for anyone who might be inspired by your example. This does not mean you need to become a life coach or transformation expert, but it does mean being open to supporting others who are ready for their own growth journey. The most profound realization of successful transformation is understanding that who you are today is still not who you are ultimately meant to become. Your potential is not limited by your current capabilities, your past experiences, or your present circumstances. You are a being with infinite capacity for growth, adaptation, and evolution. This realization removes the pressure to get everything right immediately and replaces it with excitement about the ongoing journey of becoming. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be growing. You do not have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to continue learning and evolving. As you integrate your transformation and plan for continued growth, remember that the most important changes are often invisible to others, and sometimes even to yourself. The shift in your internal dialogue, the increased alignment between your values and actions, the growing sense of agency and empowerment. These changes may not be dramatic or obvious, but they form the foundation for everything else in your life. Your transformation ripples out into every area of your existence. Better decisions create better results. Increased confidence opens new opportunities. Improved self-awareness leads to better relationships. Greater resilience allows you to take bigger risks and pursue bigger dreams. The changes you have made over these 21 days will continue to compound and multiply for years to come. The person you have become through this process is not the end point. It is the launching pad. You have proven to yourself that intentional change is possible, that you have more control over your life than you previously realized, and that the limitations you once accepted were largely self-imposed. This knowledge changes everything about what you believe is possible for your future. You are no longer someone who hopes for change. You are someone who creates change. You are no longer someone who dreams about a better life. You are someone who builds a better life. You are no longer someone who wonders if transformation is possible. You are someone who was transformed and will continue transforming for the rest of your life. This is not the end of your transformation journey. It is the end of the beginning. The real adventure starts now as you apply these principles and skills to create a life that truly reflects your highest potential. The next 21 days await, and the next transformation is ready to begin whenever you choose to claim your lasting liberty. Conclusion: your unwritten future of liberty. 21 days ago, you made a decision. You chose to step away from the old version of yourself, the one weighed down by fear, doubt, excuses, and untapped potential, and you began a journey of profound transformation. Along the way, you have destroyed limiting beliefs, built new habits, fortified your focus, and learned to take full ownership of your life. You have journeyed through discomfort, faced challenges head-on, and proven to yourself that you are far more capable than you ever imagined. But as powerful as these past 3 weeks have been, this is not the finish line. This is just the beginning. Transformation is never a one-time event. It is a way of living. These 21 days were about resetting your mind, body, and spirit, giving you the tools to create a future that is bigger than your past. Now, it is your responsibility to keep building. The principles you have learned here are timeless. They do not expire on day 22. Splimps, clarity, focus, courage, extreme ownership, the power of identity. These are muscles you must keep strengthening. Some days will be easier than others. There will be moments when the old habits try to creep back in, when doubt whispers in your ear, or when life throws unexpected challenges your way. That is when you must remember why you started. That is when you dig deeper and keep going, even when it feels hard. The difference between those who achieve lasting success and those who fade back into the crowd is not talent or luck. It is commitment. It is the willingness to keep showing up long after the initial excitement has worn off. It is choosing to keep your vision alive even when no one else believes in it yet. As you move forward, keep revisiting your vision. Keep surrounding yourself with people who push you higher. Keep stacking small wins and celebrating your progress. And most importantly, keep becoming the kind of person who inspires others simply by the way you live. Your transformation will create a ripple effect, showing those around you what is possible when someone decides to take control of their destiny and claim their inherent liberty. 21 days may not seem like much, but you have proven how quickly life can change when you commit fully. You are no longer the same person you were when you started. You've built a foundation of strength, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Now, it is time to expand it. The next chapter of your life is unwritten, and you hold the pen. Will you let old patterns return, or will you rise higher than ever before? The choice is yours, and it is a choice you get to make every single day. Look back with gratitude. Look forward with excitement, and stand firmly in the present with courage. You have created the blueprint. You have built the habits. You have stepped into the identity of the person you were always meant to be. Now go out into the world and live it. Prove to yourself and to everyone watching that transformation is not temporary. It is who you are now. This journey does not end here. It only grows stronger from this moment on. And most exciting part? You are just getting started on a life defined by unwavering personal liberty.